Lin Xiao and Harry returned to the room. Both of them were lying on the sofa in the living room, both of them staring at the ceiling without blinking. For a long time, no one spoke. Later, it was Harry who asked first, "Lin Xiao, you say, what should we do next?" Lin Xiao shook his head and didn't speak. There seemed to be only one road before them, but this road was almost a dead end. The only test object Lin Xiao and the others could choose was Director Lin. However, Director Lin, relying on their current level, they cannot win. Lin Xiao rehearsed countless times in his mind. When they fought against Director Lin, he found that no matter how he chose the battle plan, he could not win. In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies are paper tigers. He, 313, can't think of any way for the time being. Harry sighed and said, if only Dumbledore were here, he'd tell us what to do now. As soon as Harry finished speaking, Dumbledore's face appeared in front of Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao looked at him and asked softly, Dumbledore, I have a difficult problem now. I see, boy, you look like you've been through a lot, and your pride and ease, which I love most, are gone. Why? Dumbledore looked at him kindly. Because this is the first time I have faced the test of life and death. Before at Hogwarts, I never thought I was going to die, you know. Lin Xiao looked at him. At Hogwarts, I knew a lot, I know everyone's fate, I know how to protect you, and even how to fight Voldemort. You are all afraid of him, but I am not, because I know every decision he makes. 35. That's fine, boy. Dumbledore looked at him. It's your advantage. Now what's your problem? Now, I find that I don't know what to do. I don't even have 10% confidence. He's too strong, I can't beat him. Lin Xiao looked at him, and for the first time in front of him, admitted his own powerlessness. Why are you so sure you can't beat him? Dumbledore said. Because, I felt, he was too strong, and, not just him, a lot of people, everyone we're going to face, are too strong. Dumbledore, I'm sorry, each of them it's all you, I'm going to fight with 7 of you. 55 Lin Xiao is decadent, dejected, and has no fighting spirit. But, Lin Xiao, I'm not invincible. Dumbledore's eyes were confident, as if there was nothing in this world to frighten him. Even if I am now, there are many people who can beat me. You and Harry, if you want, you can beat me too. Dumbledore looked at Lin Xiao. Perhaps, you should try to beat me. Lin Xiao looked at Dumbledore in disbelief. How could I defeat you, Dumbledore? You are the most powerful magician. 9. Oh. Do you think so? Dumbledore asked rhetorically. Yes, not only me, Harry, even everyone thinks so. Lin Xiao repeated, you are the most powerful magician. But, I don't think so. On the contrary, Dumbledore looked at Lin Xiao. I always thought I was the worst wizard, because I didn't want you to be as bad as me, so I have to work harder to let you have become much better than me. Dumbledore looked at Lin Xiao sadly. Lin Xiao, are you telling me now, am I a complete failure? You and Harry are the most successful students in my opinion. Now you tell me that I am the most powerful wizard. 35 Dumbledore looked at him. Lin Xiao, you believe me, this is not a compliment, this is a satire of me, is also the greatest irony of Hogwarts. Lin Xiao lowered his head. Dumbledore, I'm running out of confidence. Do you know how much I regret? I regret coming here, I regret going through this. If I don't come to Hogwarts, I will always be in Hogwarts. That confident, flamboyant Lin Xiao, but now, I found that I was losing confidence. 35. Why do you have to be confident, Lin Xiao? Came Dumbledore's voice. Many times, there are many things that don't require confidence to do. Hogwarts doesn't have the confidence to fight Voldemort, so should we just give up? Lin Xiao. 5. Lin Xiao didn't know how to answer him. It's not up to you to do it or not. Dumbledore patted him on the shoulder, but it's up to you how you do it. What should I do? Lin Xiao looked at him and asked, if it were you, what would you do? I can't tell you the answer, but, said Dumbledore, after a pause, why not the other way around? If you were me now, what would I do in your opinion? 35. Lin Xiao's eyes suddenly became brighter. He was about to speak, but found that Dumbledore's voice had disappeared. Dumbledore. Lin Xiao raised his body abruptly, clutching in the air. Harry was taken aback by his behavior. He got up and looked at him, and when he found that there was nothing, he looked at him dissatisfiedly. Lin Xiao, don't be so scary, okay? 9. Harry looked at Lin Xiao. I thought Dumbledore was here. Lin Xiao looked at Harry blankly. I thought Dumbledore was coming. Lin Xiao, what's wrong with you? Harry saw Lin Xiao's expression was not quite right, grabbed him with both hands and said, what the hell is wrong with you, Lin Xiao? Lin Xiao came back to his senses, grabbed Harry in return, and said, Harry, I think I have a solution. There is a way. Harry looked at Lin Xiao in surprise. You mean you have a way to deal with Director Lin? Lin Xiao nodded fiercely. yes, I think I know how to deal with him. What's your solution? Harry asked. Dumbledore. Lin Xiao repeated, my way is Dumbledore. 55. Harry couldn't understand why. Lin Xiao, what are you talking about? Did Dumbledore tell you the method? How did he know that we were in the China Wizarding Institute in 1? 3, and how did he know that we had to find a way to defeat Director Lin? No, he didn't tell me. Lin Xiao looked into his eyes and said word by word, I mean, the way to defeat Director Lin is to turn us into Dumbledore. Lin Xiao and Harry won't necessarily defeat Director Lin, but Dumbledore won't. Lin Xiao looked at him, as you said, Dumbledore is the most powerful wizard. Yes, even now, I still admit it, but what does it have to do with our battle with Director Lin? Lin Xiao, what are you talking about? Harry looked at Lin Xiao like a lunatic. Listen to me, Harry. 35. Lin Xiao held Harry tightly. From now on, we're going to do 2 things. 9. The first thing, we're going to collect as much information on Director Lin as possible and find all the people we can find. The second thing, Dumbledore reminded me, you just asked me, what would he do if it were Dumbledore? Lin Xiao shook his head, in fact, it's the opposite, it should be, what would he do if we were Dumbledore do? What's the difference? Lin Xiao. Harry was almost dazed by Lin Xiao. It's a big difference, think about it, if we were Dumbledore, and now, we had to fight an enemy that was many times stronger than us, what would happen to Dumbledore? Harry still didn't understand. I don't have time to explain now, so let's do the first thing first. I want as much information as possible, Director Lin's information. Harry didn't fully understand what Lin Xiao said, but now he knew what he should do. 07. He nodded, I'll go now, I believe that the administrator and Director Li will definitely have information from Director Lin. Just as Harry was about to get up, he heard a knock on the door. Harry and Lin Xiao looked at each other, then got up to open the door. Very few people come to them. Sure enough, after opening the door, what Harry saw was Director Lin, who was as always with a smile on his face and narrowed eyes. He held a thick stack of notebooks in his hand. I have to admit, Director Lin, the way you came to fight is much more civilized than that of the Spectre. Harry said to Director Lin outside the door. When Lin Xiao heard Harry's words, he immediately walked over and looked at Director Lin outside the door without saying a word. Director Lin smiled and said, don't be nervous, I won't take the initiative to come to you for a trial, I will always wait for you to come to me. I came to find you because I think you need these. Director Lin lifted the book in his hand. Lin Xiao could feel the weight. What is this? Lin Xiao asked. Director Lin didn't know whether it was disappointment or regret. He glanced at Lin Xiao and Harry, and then said, it seems that you didn't take my previous words to heart. When you left the trial room, didn't I tell you, I'm a person who is good at analysis, I have all the information I have collected here, I'll bring it to you, I think you need them more than me. Lin Xiao and Harry looked at each other, and they both saw a hint of surprise in each other's eyes. They did not expect that Director Lin would actually give them these materials. Lin Xiao was silent for a while, staring at Director Lin. Does all this director's information also include yours? 35. Lin Xiao. Harry interrupted him in horror. Director Lin smiled lightly, and then said, of course, including, after all, I am also your director, isn't it? Harry looked at Director Lin in surprise. He heard his own voice. Director Lin, did you really give us your information? Director Lin narrowed his eyes as always. It turns out that the second one you chose, no, to be exact, the first trial content you chose was me. That's my honor. Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin and the documents in his hands. Director Lin handed over the information in his hand. Then you need this information even more. Director Lin looked at Lin Xiao and said, in my notes, I have recorded every match of mine and of my opponent. I have a record of the battle situation, the characteristics and reflections of each game, you can take a look. After handing the information to Lin Xiao, he was about to turn around and leave, just took a step forward, then came back, looked at Lin Xiao and asked, can I know, why did you guys choose me in the first place? Because I am the youngest director, do you think I will be weaker? How do you say that sentence? Persimmons should be soft first. Lin Xiao shook his head and looked at him seriously, because you are the most familiar of all the directors so far. So, knowing yourself and knowing your enemy, you will be safe in 100 battles. Director Lin seemed to be relieved and patted his chest. Fortunately, it's not because I'm the weakest. Then I won't disturb you. I'll be waiting for you in the office. I hope you won't make me wait too long. After speaking, Director Lin turned around and left. After closing the door, Harry looked at the thick document in front of him and asked, Lin Xiao, do we really want to see this document? Lin Xiao nodded. Look, we have to look at everything, look at Director Lin first. Harry stopped him. Lin Xiao, think about it again, there won't be any problems in the middle. How can someone give all their training manuals to the enemy who is about to fight? Lin Xiao shook his head and flipped through the materials, not the enemy. Harry, Director Lin is not our enemy. Okay, even if it's not an enemy, it's an opponent, Lin Xiao, these. It wasn't that Harry didn't believe in Director Lin's conduct, but that Director Lin's current approach was beyond the scope of normal people's thinking. What if he didn't regard us as an opponent? Lin Xiao casually flipped through the materials in his hand. Don't you see that he gave us these things in the hope that we could find a way to defeat him from these materials? Why? Lin Xiao, I don't understand. Harry 313 couldn't understand why Director Lin did this. There are many reasons for this, Lin Xiao thought to himself. It is possible that he is actually looking forward to it. There are different people who can come to beat him. Look at the record above. Lin Xiao showed Harry the page he saw. Every time he fails, it is a sign that he has reached a new stage. Lin Xiao quickly turned back. Look here, after he lost to the administrator, he was in this battle with the administrator, there was a lot of improvement, so next time, he won and became the director. Almost, every time he passes a stage, there will be an opponent who defeats him, and then, the next time he appears in front of everyone, he will look completely different. But since he became the director, he has never met such a person, and he has never improved significantly, so he might want us to beat him. Lin Xiao looked at it and felt that there might be such a possibility. Will it be? Harry asked suspiciously, does anyone really want others to beat them? The world is full of wonders. Lin Xiao said, maybe Director Lin is just such a person. However, Director Lin is really a good person. He gave us all the information about the director. Harry flipped through the books and said, look, this is Director Yang, the administrator, and this is Zhang Jinguo, the defensive type. This one belongs to Director Huang, who was covered in black smoke that day we saw, and here is Director Li. 35. Harry said in surprise, Director Lin actually fought against Director Li, and more than once. Harry continued to flip through the pages. Even the other two directors who haven't shown up yet, have information on Director Guan and Director Tong, but why are they so little information, even less than Director Li's? Lin Xiao always felt a little strange when he looked at these materials. From the first time he saw these materials, he had a very strange feeling, but for a while, he couldn't remember what it was. Lin Xiao shook his head and put those thoughts aside. Let's put the rest aside first, let's read all the materials of Director Lin first, Lin Xiao said to Harry, we will try to find Director Lin tomorrow. 35. Harry glanced at the thick stack of Director Lin's materials, looked at Lin Xiao's eyes, and nodded. Then, the two of them looked at each other seriously. Among all the materials of Director Lin, the record of himself is the most detailed. He not only wrote down every confrontation, but even wrote down his state and state of mind during each confrontation. It was not until the beginning of the night light that the two people read Director Lin's information. After reading this, I know why Director Lin is always smiling, Harry said with emotion, because he is so powerful, I have never met such a talented person. Lin Xiao was lying on the sofa, his whole body sunk into the sofa, his eyes fixed on the ceiling, his two fingers kept pressing on his temples, absorbing so many things at one time, his brain was overloaded. Harry waited for a long time without waiting for Lin Xiao's response. Hey, Lin Xiao, what are you thinking about? Lin Xiao said quietly, I didn't think about anything, I just thought that Director Lin was really powerful. Director Lin's greatness is not his talent, but his hard work and cruelty towards himself. Lin Xiao thought that if it was him, he would not be able to do it at all, and there should be few people in the whole world who can do that. There are a few people who can throw themselves into the most feared snake pile and force themselves to stay in the snake pile for a week. After coming out of the snake pile, I forced myself to recall the shape, characteristics, and habits of each snake. He even forced himself to record the fear of facing the snake pile for the first time, and recorded every moment and every frame that he saw when he was afraid, just like forcing himself to recall the most terrifying scene at that time. There are a few people in this world who can face their own fears. Not only that, in the face of people who bully him and are stronger than him, he has to record, when those who are stronger than himself, beat him, his every action, every expression, even every section to every one. Mentality. After reading these materials, Lin Xiao can understand why Director Lin can become the youngest director, because he is a pervert. Different from Li Gui's perversion is cruel to others. But Director Lin's metamorphosis was all directed at himself, even more ruthless than Spectre. Because no matter how cruel the ghost is, it will only hurt the body. And Director Lin, not only hurt the body, but also hurt the spirit. Such a person does not know whether to say admiration or fear. Lin Xiao turned his head to look at Harry. In Harry's eyes, he saw the same emotion and admiration. Admiration for Director Lin, and admiration for himself. Harry looked at Lin Xiao and said, Lin Xiao, can you still remember the most terrifying thing about yourself? Lin Xiao thought for a while, then shook his head, I haven't encountered anything terrifying yet, and the most terrifying thing is probably right now. 35. Harry looked at the ceiling, my biggest fear was the day I felt that my body wasn't mine, I felt that something else was tearing at me, pulling me out of my body. Walk. I can now clearly recall the fear at that time, the fear of the first death so close to me. For so long, I have never dared to recall that day, and I was even afraid to dream of that day, so when you go to bed every night, hypnotize yourself so that you don't dream at night. Harry sneered, before today, I always thought I had done a good job. I always thought that I was, as Dumbledore believed, a particularly strong person, because I beat Voldemort, because I come out of the fear of him. But I didn't realize until now that I didn't do enough. Harry stroked the notebook lightly with one hand, I'm really far behind him. 35. Lin Xiao didn't speak, and he didn't know what to say. After all, facing such Director Lin, they were too far away. Lin Xiao pretended to be joking and said, grave accent, Harry, what are you most afraid of? Harry thought for a moment, then said, Voldemort. Then if you are placed in the middle of countless Voldemorts, and you have to face them, do you think you can be like Director Lin, and after you come out, do you record every bit of the moment? 35. Harry shook his head sharply, at least for now, I can't. He paused and said, however, I believe that one day in the future, I will go to Dumbledore and ask him to help me conjure countless Voldemorts, and then make myself face them day and night, and like Director Lin, record every single Voldemort. Mentally every moment. I believe, one day, I will do it. Lin Xiao looked at the ceiling, then said, do you know what I would do? I would face a group of Director Lin. Then record every moment of my collapse. Ha ha ha. Good, Harry smiled unabashedly, Lin Xiao, you are more terrifying than Director Lin. 99. The two chatted and laughed for a while, and then both returned to silence, and neither of them spoke again. They will face Director Lin tomorrow, a person who makes them both respect and fear, they don't know what kind of mentality they should face him with. In the face of such a powerful opponent in his heart, it seems that all the mental preparations have nowhere to hide in front of him. Lin Xiao took a deep breath and let it out slowly. He vaguely felt that he was looking forward to a confrontation with Director Lin. But more, still at a loss. Early the next morning, the two of them opened the door at the same time. Lin Xiao looked at Harry and found that he, like himself, also stayed up all night. The two did not speak in tacit agreement, left the room, and walked towards Director Lin's office. When they arrived at Director Lin's area, Director Lin was already waiting for them in advance. Seeing them, Director Lin's expression didn't change much, but the smile on his face seemed to be bigger. Walking towards them, you guys came earlier than I thought. I originally thought that you would have to wait until tomorrow at the earliest. He paused, I think you need some time to digest those materials. 99. It's useless to digest, it's better to come directly. Lin Xiao looked at him and said. Director Lin's smile paused, then continued, okay, then let's start. Director Lin took Lin Xiao and Harry to a huge open space where Lin Xiao and Harry had never been before. This is my secret base, where I usually train. 35 Director Lin looked at them and said, there are more barriers here than in other places. The barriers will allow you to avoid damage caused by collisions, etc., will make our confrontation a confrontation of pure strength. Director Lin 313 glanced at them, take out your magic wand. I really want to learn what kind of existence the legendary genius of the 9 examinations is. Lin Xiao and Harry looked at each other and both took out their weapons, Lin Xiao even took out his own dagger, waiting for him. Director Lin said that the two of them are geniuses, but in their eyes, even in everyone's eyes, Director Lin is even more of a genius, a gifted genius. Today, it is a confrontation between one genius and two geniuses. After Lin Xiao and the two took out the wand, Director Lin did not take out the wand, or in other words, he did not need to take out the wand. Harry moved his hand first, but Lin Xiao stood there and slowly closed his eyes. Director Lin took a sigh of relief and kept an eye on Lin Xiao's movements while fighting against Harry. Rather than confrontation, it is better to say that Director Lin is fighting a battle of guidance. As soon as Harry came up, he cast a paralyzing spell on Director Lin instantly ducked, and while hiding, he said to Harry, Harry, this is a battle, not a game, the era of using stuns is over, you should use Avalon Soa Ming on me as soon as you come up. Harry stopped, abbed, and used Avalon's life on Director Lin, but it didn't work. Director Lin shook his head, it's too late. If you didn't use it on me as soon as you came up, it should be possible to think that I will be on guard against you, at this time. What you want to think about is, why, I haven't used a wand yet, where is my wand? Harry's rhythm was disrupted again, the speed he was going to attack stopped, and he used Quaisho imprisonment on Director Lin, forcing him to use his wand, but he was still dodged by him. Director Lin narrowed his eyes and said, your motives are too obvious, and Harry, your emotions are too obvious, I just need to look into your eyes to know what spell you will use next, you should learn to hide your emotions. Harry was forced to stop again, a series of confrontations between Harry and Director Lin, in the end. It was just a unilateral guidance battle by Director Lin, and Harry was guided by Director Lin throughout the fight. Harry also found that his rhythm was disrupted again, and now he had absolutely no idea what he should do next, and all his attention was on what Director Lin said. While dealing with Harry, Director Lin looked at Lin Xiao over there, and said to him, Lin Xiao, if you don't make a move, Harry will have no chance. Although Lin Xiao closed his eyes the whole time, he was always paying attention to Harry and Director Lin. From the sound of the two people fighting, he could clearly hear Director Lin's breath changing. It wasn't that Harry didn't attack him at all just now. When Harry cast a faint spell on him, he had already attacked him, but he managed to hold on. After that, for a while, Director Lin's breath changed. Lin Xiao forced himself, in his mind, to imagine him and Harry as Dumbledore, and in front of him, were two Dumbledore and a Director Lin fighting. Lin Xiao slowly opened his eyes, looked at Director Lin and said, he will not lose. Lin Xiao looked at him and said, you can take out your wand, or, the dagger hidden behind you. Director Lin paused and took out the dagger with his right hand from behind him. It was a dagger with a very peculiar shape, it looked very strange, and it could only be seen from its blade that it was a dagger. But in the next second, the dagger changed into a very ordinary dagger, and in the next second, the dagger changed into a different look. Of all your documents, the record about yourself is the clearest. Lin Xiao approached him step by step, this dagger of yours should be able to transform into any shape at will. 35. Director Lin nodded, I didn't expect you to find out. I probably didn't write about the dagger in my record. You didn't write it down, it's just that you recorded in the record that the shape of the recorded dagger is different every time you win by surprise. Lin Xiao looked at the dagger in his hand, I directly rule out that you will use a different shape each time. The only option left is the dagger, your dagger can change its image at will. 35. Lin Xiao glanced at Harry, leave it to me for now. Harry looked at him and nodded. Lin Xiao took out his own dagger, now it's the two of us. 99. Lin Xiao's dagger glowed coldly, and he took his wand back. Director Lin attacked Lin Xiao first, and before he could reach Lin Xiao, he fell to the ground. Director Lin was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, I was careless. With your mental strength, you can use your wand without chanting spells, and you can also launch attacks. Lin Xiao didn't speak. This time, he shot instantly. He never kept using spells on Director Lin. The spell that caused Director Lin to faint has not been lifted, but he has taken precautions in advance. The spell that Lin Xiao just used was returned by his spell, and Lin Xiao was able to escape. Just as Lin Xiao's dagger rushed in front of him, the dagger in his hand instantly changed shape, blocking Lin Xiao's dagger. Lin Xiao was crushed by the rebound of the dagger and took a few steps back. At this time, Director Lin's spell has been lifted. He stood up slowly and patted the dust on his body. Still smiling at Lin Xiao, you really are stronger than I thought. 99. Then I can rest assured. In Director Lin's eyes, there was no longer a casual smile, and the smile on his face changed to a serious expression. His right hand was raised in front of his chest, and the dagger in his hand kept changing these various forms, which made people dazzled. He said, Lin Xiao, you are indeed very strong, from your body, I know what the talent of the 9 testers is, but if you are only at this level, it is impossible to beat me. Lin Xiao looked at him and smiled, really? Lin Xiao dashed forward, and he avoided the spell he used on Director Lin. The dagger in Director Lin's hand turned into a whip. Lin Xiao's originally violent attack instantly turned into a disadvantage. He was too close, and it was too late to avoid the soft whip's attack. Lin Xiao made a circle with his right hand, out of the soft whip's range. After standing in position, Lin Xiao did not pause, and attacked again. The soft whip in Director Lin's hand turned into a long sword, and stabbed Lin Xiao's back straight. Left arm. Lin Xiao made a circle with his right hand to withdraw, and charged up again. Director Lin's long sword turned into a short sword and stabbed Lin Xiao's right leg. Lin Xiao seemed to feel no pain, attacking again and again. Director Lin looked at him and said, are you only attacking like this? You know very well that you can't hurt me like this. Lin Xiao didn't speak, and launched the next round of attacks, and was beaten back in an instant. Lin Xiao cloned himself, divided himself into more than a dozen, and attacked Director Lin from different directions. This is a bit interesting, but it's still a little short of trying to get close to me. Director Lin took out his wand for the first time, chanting a spell in his mouth, and the next second, the wand turned into a shield, blocking all attacks. A dozen Lin Xiao attacked together, dazzling. Each Lin Xiao's attack speed was no slower than the previous one. However, Director Lin still blocked all the attacks, and he is now on the spot, unscathed. When Lin Xiao came back, Director Li looked at him with a smile. I haven't fought like this for a long time. He looked at Lin Xiao. Your strength should be more than that. 35. Lin Xiao didn't speak. The previous thin injury, coupled with the series of mentally draining attacks just now, made him gasp for breath. He looked at Director Lin, who was still calm and composed, and there was a trace of anxiety in his eyes. Director Lin just happened to see the anxiety in his eyes. A dozen or so avatars didn't hurt me. What should you do now? Lin Xiao suddenly smiled at him. Director Lin looked at him in confusion. What are you laughing at? Lin Xiao's voice was a little weak. Don't you feel, your left leg is already unconscious? Hearing this, Director Lin's first reaction was impossible. When he moved his leg again, he found that he didn't feel anything, as if the leg was not his own. When did you? Director Lin looked at him and asked. Just when you thought I would just keep attacking. Lin Xiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said. Director Lin glanced at his legs and laughed softly. That's it. He looked at Lin Xiao with seriousness in his eyes. Director Lin's whole body was tense, and his body, from top to bottom, all entered a state of battle. It was only at this moment that Lin Xiao realized that it turned out that all this had just begun. As expected of the talent of Jiu Kao, but it is more brain than I imagined. Director Lin smiled softly. You may not believe it, I was never injured when I played with Director Yang and the others, but this time. When Lin Xiao saw Director Lin slashed his leg with a dagger, blood flowed immediately. Then Lin Xiao saw that Director Lin's leg that he had cast a spell on had returned to normal. He thought to himself, as expected of Director Lin, he only lost one of his legs at the cost of the injuries all over his body. In just a moment, he was solved by him. Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin vigilantly. His brain was running fast. By this time, he hadn't thought of what he should do. Director Lin approached slowly. He put the dagger to his mouth, licked it with his tongue, closed his eyes, and seemed to enjoy the smell of blood. He looked at Lin Xiao. You know, every time I was injured, I would taste my own blood, because in the whole world, only my own blood is sweet. 5. Director Lin's eyes began to turn scarlet, a frenzy that was about to enter a fighting state. Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin like this, and his scalp felt numb. Director Lin took out his wand. Lin Xiao, I haven't used a wand in battle for a long time. You made me make an exception to show that you are not bad, but that's it. 0. 4 flowers. Director Lin's wand was aimed at Lin Xiao, and the moment the incantation was uttered, a strong wind blew over and directly pushed Lin Xiao back many steps. Lin Xiao put the dagger on the ground and grabbed it hard, so that it was not scraped away. Director Lin's wand waved again, and when the wind became stronger, Lin Xiao's entire body was directly parallel to the ground, with only one hand, holding the dagger tightly. The wind was so strong that the saliva from Lin Xiao's mouth was scraped behind him. Lin Xiao, you can admit defeat now, and if you admit defeat, you won't be scraped away. Director Lin looked at him and said, this is just the beginning. If you don't admit defeat, I guess you should be scraped into the sea from here. 95. Lin Xiao's mouth was blown out of shape. He said inarticulately, I don't want to admit defeat. Director Lin's magic wand waved again. Lin Xiao's entire body with the dagger was directly scraped away. Lin Xiao instantly transformed into more than a dozen clones, and in front of Lin Xiao, a wall of people was formed for Lin Xiao. Blocked the wind. A white light passed through the human wall and went straight to Director Lin. Lin Xiao shouted loudly, Harry, take advantage of this. Director Lin seemed to have reacted to something, and was about to look back. He had already fallen to the ground, and the wand and dagger were no longer in his hands. The simplest of the two magics, pass out and remove your weapon. The strong wind dissipated, more than a dozen Lin Xiao fell to the ground, and only one was still standing injured. Harry didn't know when. He was already standing behind Director Lin, less than half an arm away from him. Director Lin fell to the ground. Director Lin looked at Harry loudly, when did you? Harry looked at him. Director Lin, you forgot, I am also in the 9 exams. 35. Lin Xiao walked over, took Director Lin's dagger and wand in his hand, and said, you don't have to admit defeat, but without the wand and dagger, you won't be our opponent. 35. In this battle, I forgot one thing from beginning to end. We are 2 people, and you are fighting 1 person from beginning to end. Director Lin smiled lightly, lowered his head and said, "So it is. From the beginning, you were numbing me. You made me think that you were fighting me one by one, and Harry, from the beginning, made himself weak and impulsive, and also to make me completely let down my guard, let me not take him seriously. Later, Lin Xiao, you attacked me with all your strength, and let me focus all my attention on you, and completely forget Harry's existence. All you do is for this final blow." Director Lin looked at the two people standing together and said, "Is this your plan from the beginning?" Lin Xiao nodded, he said, "We both have a teacher, he is the most powerful wizard in the world, but his most powerful is not how powerful his magic is, but his strategy in people's heart." 35. 313 Harry continued Lin Xiao's words, "He spent 5 years or more, making a plan, and this plan is still in progress. He told us that he is the worst wizard, his job is to make us all less bad than him." Harry's eyes were on a cloud in the sky, much like the one he had seen when he came out of Dumbledore's office that day. His voice was long and full of nostalgia. "One of the things I learned the most from him is waiting. He spent more than 10 years waiting for me and Lin Xiao. Compared with my entire weight today, he is many times stronger than me." Lin Xiao couldn't stand a little and put all his weight on Harry's body. Lin Xiao said, "He is a natural strategist. The first lesson he taught me was to know ourselves and others. We needed to know you, but it was really hard." "Yes. But you yourself put all of your upbringing in front of us. Just like I knew in advance that your dagger will change in thousands of ways, I know that your most powerful spell is the wind magic spell, and I also know that after you cast this spell, you will also lose your strength for a short time. Therefore, from our first at the beginning, my purpose was to force you to cast this spell, and then give you the final blow." Director Lin looked at them and said, "But, I don't know anything about you." "Yes, you don't know anything about us, that's why you failed." Lin Xiao looked at him. Director Lin smiled softly, "Okay, I admit defeat, you guys won." He paused, "However, I didn't lose to you, but to the most powerful wizard you said. You too, are you treating you as if he is testing me today?" Director Lin looked at them, "Who came up with this attention?" "I came up with it," Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin, "because I know that with the strength of the two of us alone, we can't win you no matter what. I'm very happy that you recognize me so much." Director Lin laughed. "We have never met an opponent like you, but our teacher has met, and he has been fighting against such an opponent all his life," Lin Xiao said, looking at him, "so, we can only regard ourselves as him, to fight with you." Lin Xiao looked at him and said, "This game is actually our intention to calculate your unintentional, you didn't lose to us, you just lost to another person." Director Lin looked at them, "I'm really looking forward to your most powerful wizard teacher." He said to the two young people in front of him, "You are lucky to have such a teacher." 35. Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin, "We are also very lucky to know you. Also, the information you gave us is very precious." Director Lin returned to his usual smile, "That's what I've accumulated over the years." He looked at Lin Xiao and Harry, "That teacher of yours has spent several years doing this thing." "Me too, it took several years for those materials." "Lin Xiao, Harry, you two are very good. Among your peers, I have never seen anyone who is stronger than you." Director Lin looked at them, "But the opponents of the two of you will not be you. My peers were me, Li Guiren, and even Director Yang and Director Li." 35. The last time you defeated Li Guiren was because you found his weakness, a fatal weakness. You didn't use your real strength to defeat him. It's the same this time. You guys are really smart. You made a game and used this game to let me relax my vigilance, but you didn't really beat me, do you understand?" Director Lin looked at Lin Xiao and Harry, "I gave you all the information about the directors here, you should know something about them, Director Li and Director Yang, both of whom are unpredictable, let's not talk about their strengths, they are the same as me. The other two leaders of the trial team, you know Director Zhang Jianguo, and the other Director Huang, do you know what he is best at? He is not the best at using poison, but is good at people's hearts." Director Lin looked at them, "In my data, there are 3 people who basically have no data, one is him, and the other 2 are up to now, and you haven't met them yet. The other 2 directors I have passed. These directors are not like you can deal with me and Li Guiren, especially in Director Huang. Are you going to fight them like this?" 99. Director Lin looked into their eyes and asked. The two were silent for a while, then Lin Xiao said, "To be honest, we don't know. We can only take a step and see." 39. "Let me show you a way." Director Lin turned his back to them and looked at one of the roots of the phoenix resting tree. "Do you remember, in my notes, I recorded that I threw myself away into a hole full of snakes and there for a week." 35. Remember. Lin Xiao and Harry were still a little chilled when they mentioned this. "Do you know what that place is?" Director Lin didn't want them to answer, and continued, it is that once a person enters, he will fall into endless darkness. If you can't learn to see in the dark, the light will never come out of the place. Do you think it's inconceivable that I was most afraid of snakes, but I threw myself into the snake cave, and after I came out, I had to recall my emotions in the snake cave over and over again? Director Lin turned his head to look at them. The two did not speak, but the expressions of the two were clearly written. That was not inconceivable, it was simply self-abuse. Director Lin knew what they were thinking when he saw them, shook his head with a smile, and said, "That's not what I would do, but, if I can't reach such a state of mind, I'll just leave from that place." "Not coming." Director Lin looked at them. "Do you want to try it?" "What the hell is that place?" Harry asked. Director Lin did not answer them, but asked them another question. "You know that the Phoenix Resting Tree is one of the guardians of the China Wizarding Institute?" Lin Xiao and Harry both nodded. "Then do you know how it became a guardian?" Director Lin asked. "I don't know." Lin Xiao replied, but listening to Director Lin's tone, he suddenly had the urge to let him continue talking, just like when he was at the Phoenix Resting Tree that day. He really wanted to interrupt. The same is true of the Phoenix Resting Tree. But now, without Harry stopping him, he could only continue listening. The original form of the Phoenix Resting Tree is just an ordinary tree man. Just like every creature, it has its own yin and yang sides. Director Lin looked at them and said. Harry looked at him in surprise. Then how did he become like this? He looks so powerful. Later, Emperor Wu, the founder of Phoenix Resting Tree and China Wizard 07, discovered this place. The two of them practiced here for about 2 months. After leaving here, they became the most powerful people in China. 2 wizards. After they defeated all the wizarding families in China, they came here and established the Chinese Wizarding House. Harry and Lin Xiao nodded. It turns out that this is how the China Wizarding Institute came. But, what does this have to do with the place that Director Lin mentioned? Do you know how they trained here for the past 2 months? Director Lin asked, and then answered himself. They were in that place, and all their negativity was moved away from their bodies. Leaving the purest part in one's own body, in this way, will achieve a multiplier effect with half the effort. Both looked at him in shock, because they had never heard of such a test method. Lin Xiao looked at him and said, "You tell us now, do you want us to train like them?" Director Lin shook his head. "You misunderstood. Although this experimental method allows them to quickly become very powerful wizards in a short period of time, it also brings a problem. Be expelled from the dark side of the body by him," Lin Xiao said while looking at him. Yes, Director Lin glanced at them, and then continued. The dark side that was expelled from the body by them formed a separate individual, and by absorbing other people's hatred or other negative emotions, it continued to grow. If this continues, sooner or later, it will become the scourge of the entire magical world. So, after Director Li and the Phoenix Resting Tree realized this, they sealed that part here. As long as they don't leave, that part of the dark side, no, it's almost a complete person now, and it won't come out. Arrive. Lin Xiao said with emotion. In this way, although Director Li and the Phoenix Resting Tree sealed them here, in fact, they also sealed themselves here and could never leave. You're right. Director Lin looked at them and said, so, when they knew that this kind of cultivation would cause such harm, they banned this kind of cultivation method. Therefore, the entire Chinese Wizarding Institute will never again. There has never been a second Chief Forest and Phoenix Resting Tree. Then you. Lin Xiao looked at him incredulously. He wouldn't want them to go. Lin Xiao and Harry shook their heads sharply. They were all too aware of the dangers of a dark magician to the wizarding world. Hogwarts was still hurt by Voldemort, and they couldn't create another Voldemort no matter what. When Director Lin saw them, he knew they had misunderstood, but he still treated them differently. He has seen too many people. After knowing this, he was very tempted at first, until he found out that as long as he did that, as long as he had such a thought, he would gouge out the pain that pierced his heart, and then he had no choice but to do it. Drop the idea. There are very few people like them who refuse to do this in the first place. So this also proves that he is not wrong. Director Lin looked at Lin Xiao and Harry and said, you misunderstood. I am not advising you to be like Director Li, but I want you to face this dark wizard who is about to take shape. Go and face. Dark Wizard. 35. Lin Xiao and Harry looked at each other, and in each other's eyes, they saw a kind of confusion. Yes, this method is a particularly dangerous method, but it is also the fastest way to improve your strength in the short term. Director Lin said, she was sealed in that place, but she has been improving herself by absorbing negative emotions. 35. It's a double-edged sword. There, if you make good use of his energy, then you can pull out the weaknesses in your body in the shortest possible time, and when you come out of there, you will be reborn and completely changed. In another way. Of course, if you are influenced by him instead, it is possible that you will be buried there and never get out. Director Lin looked at them, speaking of which, this is a big gamble. This is the real trial, and the content of the trial is your life. Either, come out of there alive and achieve another achievement, or, directly be swallowed by darkness there. Director Lin looked at them, I might as well tell you that there, all your weaknesses, all your fears, jealousy, anger, and all the shady programs have nowhere to hide. What he is best at is exploiting people's weaknesses. For the testers, this is an opportunity instead. It depends on the strength of the tester. 313. Director Lin watched them finish speaking. For a while, no one spoke. Both of them were contemplating, as if immersed in their own thoughts. Director Lin did not urge them either, he knew that it would not be easy at all to make this decision. So, he gave them time to think it through. After a while, Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin and said, I'll go. 99. Director Lin looked at him and nodded, as if he was not surprised at all. From the very beginning, he knew that Lin Xiao, like him, was a gambler who either won the entire battlefield or lost everything. If he hadn't been a gambler, he wouldn't have come to the China Wizarding House from the very beginning. However, Director Lin's gaze turned to Harry. If Lin Xiao is a gambler who is relentless and dares to rush forward, then Harry is the casino owner in the casino. Every step he takes, he has to leave himself two back ways. Just like the dealer in the casino, whether he wins or loses, he must be invincible. Therefore, Harry is more cautious than Lin Xiao. After a while, Director Lin Xiao heard Harry's voice, he said, I'm going too. Both Lin Xiao and Director Lin were a little surprised, especially Director Lin. From the beginning, his goal was to let Lin Xiao go. He knew too well how much a person would change if he could come out of that place. Among the two of them, as long as one of them is willing to go, the winning rate will greatly increase for the several directors they will face in the future. So from the very beginning, he wanted to convince Lin Xiao, but he didn't have much hope for Harry himself. After all, Harry's weaknesses were too obvious, and Harry's weaknesses affected him more obviously. Such people are especially afraid to face their dark side. So, when Harry said the answer, he was really surprised. Lin Xiao knew Harry's mentality better, he didn't even hope Harry could go. He said to Harry, you don't have to force yourself, it's enough for one of us to go. Harry shook his head, it's because I know that, his influence on me, so I need to face it more. These weaknesses of mine will have to be faced sooner or later. It's better to uproot them now. Up. 5. Harry looked at Lin Xiao and Director Lin firmly, this is one thing I have to do, so don't stop me. Lin Xiao knew very well how difficult it was for Harry to make this decision. So without further persuasion, he patted Harry on the shoulder and said, okay, then we'll go together. Don't worry, we won't get caught in it. Harry nodded. Lin Xiao and Harry looked at Director Lin and asked, Director Lin, we have all made a decision. Where is the place you mentioned? Director Lin looked at them, you go back to the office with me first, I will show you my records first, it will help you to go there. Also, I need to prepare some things for you, once you go there, if you don't come out by yourself, no one will be able to go in and help you. So, you have to be mentally prepared. The two nodded. The two followed Director Lin and returned to Director Lin's office. Wait for me here. Director Lin said to them, then walked behind his desk and took out a thick notebook from the safe. Director Lin looked at the notebook, wondering what he was thinking. After a while, Director Lin raised his head and gave the notebook to Lin Xiao and Harry. It records all my unknown secrets. You can just sit here and read. I hope you understand that I don't want this thing to be able to leave this office. Lin Xiao and Harry nodded, they both knew that Director Lin must have made a great determination to come up with this thing. Except for him, no one should be willing to put their dark side in front of others like this. Director Lin said, let's see first. I'm going to help you prepare some things that may be of use. Maybe those things can help you at a critical moment. Lin Xiao and Harry said, thank you. Director Lin. Director Lin smiled at them, and then walked out of the office. Lin Xiao and Harry turned to the first page of the note, and when they saw the contents, their hearts trembled a lot. On the first page of the notes, there is a picture. To be exact, it is a horror painting. On the painting, there is a boy with scars all over his body, and the scars have all kinds of strange shapes, but they all look terrifying. Looking a little further away, it looks like a man with all kinds of shapes piecing together. The boy has only half of his head, and the other half seems to have been gouged out by something. The boy's eyes are bleeding, but he has no eyeballs, and a part of his nose has been gouged out. He has no teeth or tongue in his mouth. It was plucked in half alive. On the boy's body, the wounds caused by various torture tools, some of them seem to be wounds from a long time ago, while some are new wounds, because those wounds are still bleeding. I don't know what kind of sadness and hatred it is to treat someone like this. Lin Xiao thought to himself. As for the boy in the picture, it seemed that he had an imagination of Director Lin, or half of his face had an imagination of Director Lin. Lin Xiao and Harry took a deep breath, then turned back. On the second page, words appeared. The two of them watched silently, and for a while, apart from the sound of their breathing and the sound of turning pages, no other sound could be heard in the room. In this notebook, it clearly recorded every minute and every second that Director Lin spent in the dark cave. It's like there's a camera recording the whole thing. After Director Lin entered the dark cave, within 10 seconds, the boy on the first page appeared in front of him. The previous one said that it was Director Lin when he was 6 years old. Director Lin was born in a very feudal village. The village was feudal, so boys should be majestic and fierce. A young man with a handsome face like Director Lin, even some boys and girls, will be regarded as unknown by the village, and will bring disaster to his family and even the whole village. Therefore, Director Lin has been living in a dark cage since he can remember. Every day, different people use different tools to beat him. He never knew what he had done wrong, as if he should have suffered these pains since he was born. Until one day, a boy the same age as Director Lin came to beat him. That was the first time he saw his peers. Before that, he always thought that teenagers of their age lived the same life as him. On that day, the boy cut his nose with a knife, and it was on that day that he knew that it was because of his appearance that he suffered all this. Later, he saw more and more people his age, and more people even younger than him. In his heart, hatred kept pouring out. He doesn't understand why he's going through all this. What did he do wrong? Very good. Perhaps because of this hatred, the magical bloodline in his body began to awaken, and finally one day, after he was sentenced, a few teenagers as old as him came to him to vent their anger because they were scolded by their parents. He finally couldn't help it and attacked the teenagers with magic. For the first time, he got out of the cage that he had been in since he was conscious. For the first time, I felt the sunlight outside, and I saw various colors of green and red. He dragged the scars all over his body and came to the village, wanting to avenge himself. In that dark cave, Director Lin went through the torture again with his own eyes. The dark cave just wanted to rekindle the hatred in his heart. This monstrous hatred was the most beautiful nourishment for the dark cave. At the beginning, Director Lin really fell into the hatred at that time. Those hatreds that he had forgotten and that he had deliberately hidden were all inspired when he first saw his childhood self. Inspired together, there is the boundless fear. In his notes, Director Lin repeated over and over again, the fear at that time, as well as the monstrous hatred, dissatisfaction with everyone, and dissatisfaction with the whole world. At this time, Director Lin couldn't see the word sunshine on his body at all, which was completely different from the Director Lin that Lin Xiao and Harry knew. With the intensification of Director Lin's negative emotions, the energy of the dark cave even reached its peak in an instant. And with the increase in the energy of the dark cave, Director Lin was almost swallowed by the dark cave. At that time, Director Lin suddenly realized that when the energy of the dark cave reaches a certain level, when the negative emotions of the people in the cave reach the extreme, the dark cave can directly devour living people, which will strengthen itself. At the moment when Director Lin was about to be swallowed, Director Lin woke up again. At that time, Director Lin's spirit had already been affected by the dark cave, and his mind had become somewhat unclear. In the end, Director Lin could only force himself to re-enter the illusion of the dark cave, where he used only a trace of lucidity to force himself to forgive and understand. Those who had hurt him, in the illusion, let himself get to know those who hurt you and make peace with them. Completely broke the illusion of the dark cave, and in turn severely damaged the dark cave. But the dark cave did not let him go. He created different environments over and over again to inspire fear, hatred, and even jealousy in Director Lin's heart. In such an illusion, Director Lin was sinking, and awake again, until finally, after the dark cave found that he could no longer stir up any negative emotions in Director Lin came out of there. When he came out, almost a month had passed. In 1 month, Director Lin was reborn and became the person he is now, with a smile on his face at all times. After Lin Xiao and Harry read it, they were speechless for a long time. Director Lin's note is too detailed and clear. Xing Chuna and the others can clearly feel Director Lin, in that dark pain, every suffering, every pain, and even every despair, and more. Is the admiration for Director Lin. In exchange for any of them, they would not be able to do what Director Lin did, and they would not be able to reach reconciliation with those who hurt themselves. The door opened from the outside, and Director Lin held a tray in his hand, which was full of instant food. Director Lin smiled as always. Fortunately, I can prepare these for you. When I was there for a month, I hardly had any food. After I came out of there, I fainted from hunger. This time, you must remember. Lin Xiao and Harry both looked at Director Lin, to be precise at Director Lin's face. Now, there are basically no traces of scars on his face. Seeing what the two of them wanted to express on their faces, he touched his own face and said, "Are you curious about my face?" For a moment, Lin Xiao didn't know whether he should ask or not. Just now, he was about to speak, but he swallowed what he wanted to say and swallowed it. Director Lin smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, just ask if you want to. Since I can show you all my secrets, it means that for me, those are all in the past." Lin Xiao and Harry both had a lot of questions they wanted to ask, but for a while, they didn't know where to start. It was Lin Xiao who asked first, "Director Lin, when you walked into the village, what happened? Did you take revenge?" Everything that happened in the dark cave, was dark emotions. Of course there would not be a scene where Director Lin was rescued later, so they didn't know who rescued Director Lin. "It's Director Li." Director Lin put down the tray in his hand, and then said, at that time, Director Li was nearby. He should have felt the power of the spell, so he ran over to see it. After all, you should also know that the wizard you cannot use magic in front of ordinary people. At that time, when Director Li saw me for the first time, he regarded me as a monster. Director Lin suddenly smiled when he said this, but he is different from other people, although he also treats me as a monster, but he didn't catch me and hurt me, he just took me from there, took me back to the China Wizarding House, and helped me heal. 35. My face was almost destroyed at that time. Director Li spent a lot of energy to treat my face. Director Lin looked at them and said, "You may not imagine that the pain of treating the face, it was even more painful than those injuries at the beginning. So, at that time, I almost couldn't help it and wanted to go back and kill those people." 35. Director Li also hurt her face in order to let me let go of her hatred. Director Li touched her face. At that time, wherever my face was hurt, she was in the same position and hurt herself too. Face. During the treatment, how much pain I am, she is even more painful than me. It's also because of this that I came out of those tormented days, and I haven't mentioned any revenge since then. Lin Xiao and Harry couldn't imagine such a scene, how ruthless a person must be in order to give such a heavy hand to themselves. No wonder, Director Lin is also like this, he can be so cruel to himself. Then Director Lin, have you completely let go now? Those hatreds, those fears, have no effect on you now? Harry asked impatiently. Director Lin walked up to Harry and put Harry's hand on his face. Harry could clearly feel that this face was still different from other people's. After all, it has been destroyed once, and it is impossible to restore it no matter what. Half of the skin on this face is completely different from normal human skin. His touch is very rough, there are no pores on it, and it feels like normal human skin. Much worse. Director Lin looked into Harry's eyes and said, "Harry, if there are 10,000 reasons for anger and hatred in this world, but as long as there is one reason to let go of these hatred, fear and hatred, then we will be sure to hold on to it. Only by holding on to him can we keep ourselves from falling into darkness." 99. As long as there is one light, all darkness can be illuminated. As long as there is one light, all darkness can be illuminated. Director Lin looked at Harry and said, "Harry, you must remember this sentence at any time." Harry felt the touch under his hand and nodded fiercely, "I'll definitely remember." Director Lin let him go, and then said to the two people, "Okay, it's been too long, you guys are going to enter there now." Lin Xiao and Harry didn't speak, just used their eyes to indicate to Director Lin that they were all ready. Director Lin took the two of them to the other side of the Phoenix resting tree. They had been working on the sunny side of the Phoenix resting tree since they entered the China Sorcerers Club, but when they walked to the shady side of the Phoenix resting tree, they realized how dark it was. Although it is only one side apart, there is no sunlight at all here. The sky on this side is shrouded in darkness, and a strong cold wind blew through, blowing straight into the hearts of the two people, freezing to the bone. It is obviously summer now, but they seem to be entering a cold winter. Director Lin brought them to a tree root. There were countless red blood strips on the root, which should be the blood of someone. Director Lin explained to the two, these are the formations used to seal the dark caves, and they are all drawn with the blood of Director Lin and the Phoenix resting tree. Basically, every time a period of time passes, Director Lin will come to reinforce it. A bit. Director Lin said, walked to a nearby tree root, waved his wand up and down, and a small box appeared on the tree root. After the box was opened, there was a button on it. Director Lin cut his finger and dripped it on the button. Dark cave is afraid, the blood of all those who came out of the dark cave, when our blood drips on him, he will temporarily lose his strength. Lin Xiao and Harry saw that when Director Lin's blood dripped, a door slowly appeared on the root of the tree. Director Lin looked at the two of them and said, "I will send you here, and the rest is up to you. I'm waiting for you to get out of here." 39. Lin Xiao and Harry both nodded, looking at the door full of gloomy air. The two walked in side by side. After they entered, Director Lin closed the door from the outside. Looking at the door that disappeared in front of him, a dignified look flashed in his eyes. "Do you really think they can do it?" Director Li's voice sounded from behind. Director Lin didn't look back, looked at the direction where the two disappeared, and said, "The two of them are our greatest hope, aren't they? Xiao Lin, you don't have to do this." Director Li looked at him kindly. "If it's true, it was originally a sin that we made, and we should solve it ourselves. These two teenagers are very talented, and they are very talented. It is possible to become the most powerful wizard of the new generation, but it is also possible to fall on the road of becoming the most powerful wizard at any time. What we have to do is help them, not let them take risks like this." 35. Director Li looked at Director Lin disapprovingly. "They are not from the China Wizarding Institute, and they will not become members of the China Wizarding Institute in the future. There is no need to involve them in our affairs." "I can't control that much." Director Lin looked at Director Li. "I only know that if anyone can, it's only them. They say that I'm the most hopeful person I've ever met so far." Seeing that he couldn't persuade Director Lin, Director Li sighed helplessly, and said, "Whatever you want, but if there is any danger in them, I will go in immediately." Director Lin seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, and then said, "Don't worry. Director Li, they have created miracles, and I believe that they will be able to continue to create miracles. I have confidence in them." 95. "I hope so." Director Li obviously did not hold any hope for this. He patted Director Lin on the shoulder, then walked to the corner of the root of the tree, cut his fingertips, and let the blood drip on the root, until Director Li's face turned pale, and then he stopped. Director Li's body swayed, and Director Lin hurried up to support him, so that Director Li did not faint. "Director, you have bled too much this time." Director Li smiled lightly, and then said, "Don't you have great confidence in them? Maybe this is the last time I have bled." 5. Director Li said weakly, "Send me back. I hope the two of them can really bring us some good news." Director Lin nodded, finally turned his head, glanced at the direction where the two disappeared just now, and helped Director Li to leave. After Lin Xiao and Harry entered, they walked cautiously. After they entered, they realized what a hell on earth this place was. Ask for flowers. Before, the most dangerous thing for them was Voldemort. However, they now seemed to be facing countless Voldemorts. Lin Xiao and Harry both took out their wands and held it up in the air to light it up, because it was so dark here that nothing could be seen. Both of them took a light breath and kept walking along the only path. After an unknown time, a biting wind suddenly blew past their ears. Lin Xiao and Harry knew that the dark side in the dark cave had already felt their presence. Two little dolls came in naturally this time. "You really have the courage," a hoarse voice remembered in their ears. "You dare to come to me. How did you offend that old woman Li Ningning? You are not afraid that I will tear it apart, are you?" Lin Xiao felt Harry's hand shake obviously. Lin Xiao said softly, "Relax, don't be nervous. If you are nervous, you will be afraid, and if you are afraid, it will absorb your strength. Don't be affected by its words." Harry took a deep breath behind Lin Xiao and followed behind Lin Xiao without saying a word. However, it's too late. This is the dark cave. Lin Xiao and Harry are equivalent to being in each other's bodies. Any fluctuations in the program will be captured by the other party, not to mention the spiritual food that the other party has been sure of for a long time. The moment Harry shook, he was already feeling the emotion of the other party. The hoarse voice thought in Harry's ear, "Afraid? Are you afraid of the dark? Or is there someone or something that makes you more likely to be afraid in the dark?" Harry clenched his hands tightly and didn't reply to him, but cold sweat had begun to trickle down his forehead. The harder Harry tried to relax himself, the more nervous he was. The more he wanted to relax himself, and the more he tried to relax himself, the more nervous he became. Lin Xiao heard his voice and said in Harry's ear, "Harry, don't think about him." When Harry heard Lin Xiao's words, he tried hard to keep himself from caring about that hoarse voice, but like a Himalayan monkey, the more he deliberately reminded himself not to think about it, the clearer his voice became. "In your own mind." Lin Xiao looked at Harry's expression and knew that Harry's mood had been affected by the other party. Sure enough, he felt Harry's emotions instantly, and he saw the things Harry was afraid of through Harry's emotions. "It turns out that you are afraid of him." A hoarse voice sounded in the ears of the two of us. Immediately afterwards, a scene appeared in front of the two of them. In the picture, Voldemort's body is incomparably powerful, like a giant entering the kingdom of dwarves. Behind Voldemort, there are countless Dementors and Death Eaters similar to him. They looked down at Hogwarts across from 313. Opposite Voldemort is the army of Dumbledore. Dumbledore is standing at the front of the line. He has been seriously injured, and he can hardly hold on, and he is at risk of falling at any time. Harry was standing behind Dumbledore, but, behind Harry, those who had been with him day and night, the classmates, all looked at him with resentful eyes. Hagrid looked at him with disappointed eyes. Harry, aren't you the son of destiny? Didn't you say you could defeat Voldemort? Why? Why is it like this? You tell me, how are we going to beat Voldemort now? Harry, I've always trusted you so much. I've always followed your example, why have you brought us disaster? Hermione was also full of disappointment. We have always respected you so much, I have always been proud of you, why? Luna also accused him. There was unspeakable pain on Harry's face. He looked at Dumbledore's figure and kept saying, I'm sorry, I can't. If you can't do it, why don't you die? Hagrid looked at him with hatred in his eyes. Your mission is to lead us to defeat Voldemort. If you can't accomplish your mission, what face do you have in this world? That's it. You bastard. I trust you so much. Hermione yelled at him, go to hell. At this time, Dumbledore suddenly fell. Dumbledore. Harry stepped forward and hugged Dumbledore's body, Dumbledore's head resting on Harry's arm, his eyes meeting Harry's. At this moment, in Dumbledore's eyes, there was no more kindness and trust in the past, only remorse left. In the beginning, I shouldn't have, you are a waste. Guilt, pain, remorse, looking at Dumbledore covered in blood, Harry could only close his eyes and said softly, I'm sorry, Dumbledore, I can't do it. I tried, but, I really can't do it. Dumbledore said weakly, Harry. Hogwarts, in your hands. With that, Dumbledore closed his eyes and never woke up again. Harry looked at Dumbledore tearfully, not knowing what else he could do at this moment. Harry, you killed Dumbledore. Hagrid rushed to him, looking him in the eyes and said, Dumbledore is dead, the most powerful wizard is dead, why are you still alive? What reason do you have to live? Harry, why are you still alive? Hermione pushed him away and looked at him condescendingly, I don't want you to be our leader, if our leader is a useless leader like you, I'd rather follow Voldemort. Harry looked at them in pain, and kept saying, it's not like that, I'm not. I didn't. Lin Xiao stood by Harry's side, he wanted to step forward and walk to Harry's side, he wanted to tell him that those were not real, don't be confused by those phenomena, but he found that he couldn't move or make a sound. Don't waste your efforts. The hoarse voice sounded in his ears, you are in my body, and everything you have is controlled by me. Didn't you feel the delicious smell? Lin Xiao heard him take a deep breath, it was a smell of good smell, indulgent voice, do you know how long it has been since I smelled blood? Ah, said the hoarse voice, sure enough, only the taste of blood is the most delicious in the whole world. No, in addition to blood, there is also fear and self-blame. The voice said arrogantly in his ear, did you feel it? The fear and self-blame emanating from his body are so pure. Look at his expression, look at the look of despair on his face, is there a feeling of being abandoned by the whole world? Yes, that's what it feels like, release. The hoarse voice gradually became excited, that's it. Go on. Harry looked at the Dumbledore army behind him, and they all took their wands and aimed them at him as if she were the most terrifying Death Eater in the world. On the opposite side of him, was the mighty Voldemort and his followers. Voldemort looked at him like an ant, Harry, do you know why I chose you between the two? 35. Because I know that you, a piece of shit, can't possibly beat me in this lifetime. Voldemort looked at him with contempt, you don't know how much effort I have spent to get you to be recognized by those people. Make the whole Hogwarts think you can help them against me. 99. They don't know, don't you know, you deal with me, and the power of my subordinates, but I gave it to you. Now, I want to take it back, what can you do? Voldemort looked at him, then looked behind him, look, everything is what I thought, once they find out that you can't deal with me, they will pass all their hatred on you. Harry, do you feel like you're the most incompetent piece of shit in the world right now? Ha 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 ha. Voldemort laughed. Harry squatted on the ground without saying a word, his whole body was shrouded in despair, and in front of him was Dumbledore, who once admired him the most and supported him the most, who was the person he admired the most. This guy, the last word one. 3 said to him was, you're such a piece of shit. Harry was almost overwhelmed with despair. The hoarse voice thought, that's it, you are a waste, don't let yourself go, continue to despair, this level of despair is not enough, continue. Ah. Lin Xiao saw the place where the sound came from, and a black smoke gradually formed and slowly gathered. Only then did Lin Xiao realize that the original voice was just a ghost. After absorbing Harry's negative emotions, it gradually took shape. Lin Xiao looked towards the black smoke. Although it was still vague, he could see a general outline. That black smoke only had a human face, but his body was still a tree, not in human form. Only then did Lin Xiao think that he should be the combination of Director Li and the dark side of the phoenix resting tree. He didn't expect that after their dark sides were combined with each other, he would actually form a tree man. Lin Xiao was shocked, but after absorbing it for a while, the tree man was about to take shape. If he were allowed to continue absorbing it, I feared that neither he nor Harry would be his opponent. Lin Xiao tried everything he could, but he couldn't move anyway. They are in this tree man's body, and all his 5 senses are controlled by this tree man. Lin Xiao summoned the phoenix dagger in his mind. For the first time, he only heard the sound of the dagger, but the phoenix dagger did not come out. He summoned it again, and the second time, the phoenix dagger was vaguely formed. A hint of surprise flashed across Lin Xiao's face. This is really okay. The third time, 07 phoenix dagger appeared next to Harry. Lin Xiao's eyes were fixed on Harry. The phoenix dagger seemed to understand what he meant, behind Harry, transmitting power to Harry. All of Harry's ears were full of scolding and abusive voices. He squatted on the ground, looked up and looked around. He found that, at some point, he seemed to have become the most vicious person in the world. He became the enemy of everyone in the world, and everyone wanted him to die. He rarely tried to argue. He never thought he was going to be a hero at Hogwarts. It was them. They told him he was a hero. They never asked him what he thought. He wanted to scold, and even wanted to cast the world's cruelest spell on the corners of his mouth that were more twisted than Voldemort's. At this time, he suddenly felt a warmth coming from his back. Although the warmth spread into his body, he heard Lin Xiao's voice, "Harry, wake up. These are all fake, don't forget, we're still in the tree man's body, we're not at Hogwarts." Harry opened his eyes abruptly. He had a trace of recovery. He saw Lin Xiao not far away, looking at him anxiously. The warmth from behind continued, and Lin Xiao's voice appeared in his ears again. "The tree man has taken shape, don't be influenced by him anymore, these are all fake." Harry touched Dumbledore's body with his hand and found that his body had become stiff. Harry walked over, hugged Dumbledore gently, smiled and said, "Yes, Dumbledore is the most powerful wizard in the world, he will not die." Harry looked at Voldemort in front of him. "The tree man, stop pretending, Voldemort and his Death Eaters are rats in the gutter, they don't even dare to come out, how can they be powerful? Also, Dumbledore, yes, absolutely will not die." 99. Harry repeated it, as if telling himself. Harry's eyes suddenly became clear, and the scene before him suddenly disappeared. Everything went dark again. After Harry's eyes got used to the darkness, he saw Lin Xiao motionless, standing there. Behind him, there was a tree man glowing with dark green light. Harry looked at him warily. "So it's you." 35. "You were in my scene and let Dumbledore die." Harry looked at him with murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Lin Xiao came back to his senses and grabbed him violently. "Harry, relax, here, any bad mood will be captured by him, even if it is killing intent on him, it is also very good for him." Nourishment. Lin Xiao did not recall the phoenix dagger, leaving him behind Harry all the time. He just suddenly discovered that this tree man seemed to be a little afraid of the phoenix dagger. Just as he was about to approach Harry, he stopped after seeing the phoenix dagger. Therefore, Harry was able to come out of the illusion. Lin Xiao took a deep look at the phoenix dagger, looked at the tree man and said, "Although you are nourished by fear, it seems that you are not without fear." Lin Xiao looked at the phoenix dagger behind Harry's back. "At least, you're afraid of him, aren't you?" There was a mysterious smile on the tree man's face. "Oh. You think I'm afraid of him? Little devil, who would be afraid of a part of their own body?" The tree man rushed behind the phoenix dagger, and he approached the phoenix dagger gently. Lin Xiao's face changed greatly after hearing his words, and he recalled the phoenix dagger in his mind, but it was too late. The phoenix dagger had already turned its head and was transmitting power to the tree man. The dark green light on the tree man gradually deepened, and his figure became clearer and clearer. "Broken!" Lin Xiao called. The phoenix dagger has recognized Lin Xiao as the main body, so Lin Xiao can feel the existence of the phoenix dagger, but he can also feel that the phoenix dagger is gradually returning to the tree man's body. He had just forgotten that the phoenix dagger came from the phoenix tree of rest, and the tree man in front of him was itself a part of the phoenix tree of rest. "You're such a liar," said the tree man's satisfied voice. "From the time you entered, I knew that you have a phoenix dagger on your body. The phoenix dagger is a part of my body, how could I not feel its existence?" The tree man looked at them and said, "So from the beginning, I just wanted you to summon the phoenix dagger, and you, the tree man looked at Harry, to be influenced by me so easily. The China Wizarding Institute is really not as good as the previous one." The tree man looked at them and said, "The last person who came in was not invaded by me until the 3rd round at least, and you were actually acquired by me in the 313th round. Phoenix dagger. 99. It's really weak. Lin Xiao and Harry looked at him with bad expressions. Lin Xiao recalled the phoenix dagger again and again in his mind, but it was all meaningless. Stop doing useless work, it's useless. The tree man said, he is a part of my body. His function is to nourish the soul, you say, since it has returned to my body. How can I let it leave again? Ha ha ha, it's really hard to find a place to break through the iron shoes, and it takes no effort to get it. The tree man looked at them. In those days, Li Ningning and the phoenix resting tree, I don't know how much effort it took to hide the phoenix dagger. A place that I can't perceive, and now, you have sent him back to me like this. It seems that the gods are really helping me, and the gods can't stand it anymore. The tree man's hoarse voice remembered, with a strong hatred, I was sealed by them in these dark days. For many years, no body, no strength. Do you know how my 1,000 years have passed? Now, I brought you 2 little devils in, and brought me such a treasure. You said, it's not that God can't see it, what is it? The tree man absorbed the power of the phoenix dagger, and then looked at they said. The tree man looked at them, slowly floated up, and floated to their side. Lin Xiao felt a biting chill pass by his ears. He heard the tree man say, since the 2 of you are here, don't waste it. Although there is a phoenix dagger now, it does not prevent you from providing me with energy. 99. With a wave of the tree man's big hand, Lin Xiao and Harry didn't have time to react, and the 2 experienced a round of high-altitude falls, and the 2 fell into darkness. Just enjoy it in there, this is a feast I specially prepared for you. The tree man's voice came, this time, I don't believe that you can still be like the perverted boy before, from my world. Out. 35. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xiao and Harry appeared at Hogwarts. Lin Xiao had a bad premonition, he could only hold Harry's hand and say, Harry, this is all fake. We are still inside the phoenix resting tree, not at Hogwarts, always remind ourselves to keep wide awake. Harry nodded. Lin Xiao and Harry walked to Dumbledore's office at Hogwarts, they looked at each other, and just as they were about to push the door to go in, they heard a voice from inside. It was the familiar voices of Dumbledore and Snape. Is there actually a changer? It was Dumbledore's voice. Does this mean that Harry can no longer connect with Voldemort? No, Snape said, it's also possible that the Sons of Change appeared because Harry couldn't be Voldemort's opponent. That's impossible, Snape, Dumbledore objected, Harry's strength and talent, we all see it. 99. But Harry's talent and strength all come from Voldemort, right? Snape looked at Dumbledore and said, Dumbledore, you have to admit that all the Death Eaters that Harry defeated before, all had Voldemort's credit. Voldemort is increasing Harry's power, have you ever wondered why? 35. Are you saying that Harry was Voldemort's undercover agent at Hogwarts? Dumbledore asked in disbelief. Whether he is or not, but, at least one thing can be confirmed, now that the Son of Change has appeared, Harry can no longer defeat Voldemort, in order to prevent him from becoming Voldemort's accomplice, I suggest. No. Snape. Dumbledore cut him off. Lin Xiao glanced at Harry, it was obvious that although Harry had not been completely affected, he was already a little unhappy. At this moment, the hoarse voice of the tree man remembered, by the way, I just forgot to tell you that all this is not a fantasy created by me, but what really happened. Harry, listen to Dumbledore, who you trust and admire most. How do you feel when you are discussing with others whether you can kill Voldemort, or even when they are discussing whether to kill you? Is it better to die than life? Is it dissatisfaction, resentment? Do you want to go in and kill the person who lied about you in front of your most trusted Dumbledore? The tree man's exaggerated laughter came, ha 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 ha, you wizards is hypocrisy. 95. Lin Xiao has been holding Harry tightly, saying in his ear over and over again, Harry, stay awake, don't be affected by him. 99. Harry, wake up. Lin Xiao punched Harry hard, and Harry looked at Lin Xiao blankly. Even if you don't believe in Snape, you should believe in Dumbledore, you are him. Before Lin Xiao finished speaking, Dumbledore's voice came out. No, I don't agree, Snape, Dumbledore said, the connection between Voldemort and Harry is already clear, Voldemort can see through Harry's eyes so what he wants to see, we can use Harry in turn, let him convey to Voldemort what we want to convey. Crap. Lin Xiao knew it was not good when he heard this. On Harry's body, there were 2 scales that no one could touch, one was Dumbledore and the other was Voldemort. Dumbledore was his most trusted elder and could be said to be Harry's belief. Harry couldn't stand it now that he was going to take advantage of Harry from Dumbledore's mouth. Lin Xiao knew that this conversation might exist, but the real situation must not be like this, but he had no way to explain it to Harry now. Harry, sober up, things are not what you think. Lin Xiao pulled him. At this moment, Dumbledore's voice came from inside, then it seems that the only one who can lead us to defeat Voldemort is Lin Xiao, the son who changed his life." Hearing this sentence, Harry turned his head to look at Lin Xiao. The look in his eyes made Lin Xiao feel particularly unfamiliar. The tree man's voice sounded again, "Ha ha ha ha, Harry, I said you are a waste. Before, you were the hero of the entire Hogwarts, but since the person in front of you appeared, have you discovered that the whole world all revolve around him, and you have been almost abandoned by everyone?" In front of Lin Xiao and Harry, the scene kept changing. Lin Xiao and Luna were sitting by the river. Luna blushed and looked at Lin Xiao. The tree man's voice sounded, "Look, this lunatic Luna, everyone admires him, when have you ever been treated like this? Also, Lin Xiao spends Christmas at Hermione and Luna's house." The tree man's voice came, "Look, two of your best friends, Hermione and Luna, both invited him to their house for Christmas at the same time, but what were you doing on that day?" Harry appeared in the picture, walking alone at Hogwarts, looking at the crowd of 2 or 3 with some envy. The scene kept changing, and it was all about how Lin Xiao saved people, how he became a hero, and how Harry was alone, looking like he was abandoned by everyone. In the end, the footage shows, very good, that on the day Voldemort appeared at the Ministry of Magic in London, Lin Xiao, together with Dumbledore, fought off Voldemort and captured several Death Eaters. Those Death Eaters were all defeated by Lin Xiao. And Harry, embarrassedly invaded by Voldemort, was finally rescued by Lin Xiao. Harry, when you look at this, you don't realize that since the person in front of you came to Hogwarts, has all the circumstances around you changed? Everyone is no longer centered on you, they all trust you. The person in front of him is willing to obey his orders, and no one cares about your punishment. 99. Don't you feel a little bit sad? Harry, stay awake, don't be influenced by his words. Lin Xiao glanced at Harry. Harry kept his head down and said nothing. Lin Xiao couldn't see his emotions. Lin Xiao looked not far away at the tree man who was absorbing the energy transmitted by the Phoenix dagger. He knew that the only way now was to solve the tree man who manipulated Harry's 5 sense monsters. Lin Xiao kept brewing momentum in his heart, holding a magic circle in his hand. The tree man saw Lin Xiao's actions, but he didn't take him to heart. His attention was always on Harry. He'd been waiting for Harry's emotions to build up and finally explode. Lin Xiao saw the tree man's tongue move, and immediately realized that it was not good. Once Harry's mood reached a certain level, Harry's soul and spirit would be sucked into his mouth by it, and it would become the tree man's food. After discovering this situation, Lin Xiao didn't have time to think about it. He immediately formed a barrier around him, and then surrounded him and Harry tightly, preventing the continuous sounds outside from entering him and Harry. Harry's ears. Not only that, Lin Xiao also put his hands beside Harry's ears and completely closed his ears to ensure that no outside voices could be heard. Lin Xiao understands that the current tree man is just an auxiliary Dementor aimed at the spirit and fantasy. It does not have any attack power, but when his power condenses to a certain level, that is, his body changes. When they become a complete entity, they are the monsters they want to fight head-on. Lin Xiao sighed. Although he had the help of Director Lin before, it was the first time he had encountered such a monster that had the illusion of absorbing the spirit. At this moment, he really couldn't think of anything better. Way to solve the other side. Lin Xiao looked at Harry and sighed. He knew Harry's weaknesses too well. Not only did he know, before coming in. Director Lin is also very clear. Harry suddenly squatted on the ground in pain. He closed his eyes and said something that Lin Xiao couldn't hear at all. "This is... damn." Lin Xiao froze in his heart. Seeing Harry like this, he was completely hit. Lin Xiao looked at the tree man not far away, with an evil smile on his face. When he was just at a loss, the tree man didn't know what he said to Harry, or what he let Harry see. Just at this time. Bump. With a loud bang, he was pushed away by a powerful force, the force coming from Harry. Lin Xiao looked at Harry in shock. The Phoenix dagger passed through the barrier and came behind, Harry, and then, a black mist came from Harry's body, reaching the Phoenix dagger. The Phoenix dagger is sucking Harry's mental power back. A few dazzling rays of light suddenly shot out from the tree roots of the tree man. The range of the rays of light was as big as a person. After the rays of light appeared from the roots of the tree, they aimed directly at the target. Harry with his head squatting. Almost in the blink of an eye, those rays of light came to Harry's side. Lin Xiao took a closer look and found that the power of the rays of light was beyond his imagination. The ground along the way was shaken, and the rays of light destroyed huge ground fissures that were bottomless. Lin Xiao glanced at them, and only felt these ravines, the strips are all dark. These were all powers that came from Harry. Lin Xiao looked at Harry and wanted to step forward to stop him, but Harry had already entered his subconscious and refused his entry. Lin Xiao had no idea what Harry was going through. Lin Xiao was desperate and tried his best to break through Harry's line of defense, wanting to enter Harry's spiritual world and bring him out of the tree man's hands. Harry didn't know what Lin Xiao was doing, he only felt that his head was about to explode. Before his eyes, different images flashed constantly. On one side is Dumbledore's courtesy and respect to Lin Xiao, and on the other side is Dumbledore's indifference to him. On one side is Snape's appreciation and jealousy of Lin Xiao, and on the other side is Snape's deliberate harm to him when he was teaching. Also Hermione, Luna, everyone at Hogwarts, have different attitudes towards him and Lin Xiao. Even Connolly Fudge, the Minister of Magic, looked at him like an ant, but his eyes were full of fear when he looked at Lin Xiao. Don't you feel inferior? A hoarse voice thought in Harry's ear, look at what they think of Lin Xiao, look at what they think of you. Harry, in everyone's eyes, you are still a young boy. But you look at Lin Xiao, they look at Lin Xiao with awe, respect, conviction. Harry, think about it, you have had such eyes? No, you never did. That hoarse voice kept bewitching Harry's spirit, admit it. In everyone's eyes, Lin Xiao is much better than you. Luo. Admit it, you are not a son of destiny at all, Lin Xiao is. If you are a child of destiny, why would there be another child of destiny? You too, from the moment he appeared, you were doomed to lose. Harry looked at Lin Xiao in the picture, strategizing, confident and calm. Harry shook his head, no, I know you're a tree man, I won't be influenced by you again. Yes, I'm a tree man, said a hoarse voice behind Harry's ear, but why don't you think about it, why I only bewitch you, but not him? I tell you, because he is too powerful, because his mental power is much stronger than yours, so I have to pick soft persimmons, isn't that because you can't compare to him? Hearing this sentence, Harry was suddenly stunned, and all the original resistance seemed to have turned into a joke at this moment. She always thought that he and Lin Xiao were partners, but at this moment she realized that Lin Xiao did not need his partner. He will only hold Lin Xiao back. To be Lin Xiao's partner, he is not qualified. Yes, that's it, the hoarse voice recalled in his ear, do you want to become stronger? If you want to become stronger, come to me, give me your strength, and I will help you become stronger. Harry was completely manipulated and walked in the direction of the tree man unconsciously. Yes, good boy, that's it, come over and give you to me. I'll make you stronger. A hoarse voice came over, give you to me, and never give it to Lin Xiao again. Hold back and you'll become stronger than him. Give you to me, you will be much better than him. A hoarse voice was always in front of Harry, guiding him forward step by step. Harry. A familiar anxious voice remembered in his ears, not the hoarse voice just now, but a crisp and clean voice. Harry's eyes regained clarity and he saw Lin Xiao, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Just now, Lin Xiao saw Harry walking forward step by step, and seeing that he was about to walk out of the barrier, Lin Xiao had to force himself into Harry's spiritual world. Just like a hypnotist entering the patient's spiritual world, if the patient has enough trust in the hypnotist, then there will be no obstacles for the hypnotist to enter the patient's spiritual world. However, if the patient is extremely resistant and refuses anyone to enter his spiritual world, at this time, if the hypnotist wants to force entry, he must break the barrier, and breaking this barrier will require the hypnotist's huge mental power, which will also make the hypnotist enter. Teacher is injured. Harry's resistance to Lin Xiao was extremely strong just now. Lin Xiao used almost all his strength, but it only made Harry a little more awake. Watching Harry regain his sanity, Lin Xiao laughed lightly, and then fell to the ground completely weak. After Harry regained consciousness, what he saw was that he had reached the edge of the barrier, and Lin Xiao fell beside him, gasping for breath, with blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. Harry crouched down nervously and looked at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, how are you? Are you okay? Lin Xiao shook his head and patted Harry's shoulder. I told you, keep your mind steady, don't be influenced by him, just don't listen. You do this again, I don't have enough strength to save you. Dash. Harry looked at him with some guilt, and he remembered those pictures just now. Stop. Lin Xiao saw that he had a tendency to return, and hurriedly said, here, your infinite thoughts will be magnified 100 times. Lin Xiao looked at Harry and said, now, it's up to you. He turned his head to look at the tree people who were staring at them, and said to Harry, I don't even have the strength to stand up now, I have to walk out. Here, it's up to you. Don't fall before me, big hero. Harry nodded and looked at Lin Xiao, don't worry, I will take you out. Lin Xiao looked at the phoenix dagger behind Harry, with a sarcastic smile on the corner of his mouth, already recognized me as the master, but turned around and helped my opponent to harm me, in this case, why should I let you out, go back and stay with me. As soon as he finished speaking, he took the phoenix dagger back into the space. The tree man watched the phoenix dagger disappear, and immediately glared, it's you again, it's bad for me. Lin Xiao panted and looked at the tree man and said, "It's obviously mine, and now I just take him back. How can it be bad for you? But you tree man is like a rat in the gutter, digging everywhere, everywhere. Biting, damn it." The tree man looked at Lin Xiao proudly, "Aren't you very good? You're not sitting there just yet." The tree man looked at Lin Xiao and Harry again, and said to Lin Xiao, "Originally, I didn't know how to enter your spiritual world, but now, you won't think that you can resist me. Well, I would like to see if the power you give me is stronger than his." 39. Lin Xiao didn't seem to hear, just grabbed Harry's arm and smiled at him, "If I'm lost, you have to find a way to wake me up." Before Harry nodded, the scene in front of the two changed. Lin Xiao found that when he opened his eyes again, he was in an ancient village, older than Hogwarts looked. An old man came from not far away, a little boy, saw the old man and ran over immediately, Patriarch Grandpa. The old man smiled kindly at the front, "It's Lin Xiao, why don't you go back at this point, your mother will be looking for you again later." It was only then that Harry realized that this boy was actually Lin Xiao when he was a child. Looking at this appearance, he was only 4 or 5 years old. Harry glanced at Lin Xiao next to him and compared it with him when he was a child. She was much more cute when she was a child. Lin Xiao's eyes have been staring at this scene, he has been completely immersed in his own thoughts, and it was not until he saw this scene that he realized that he actually misses them very much. He heard the young Lin Xiao say to the Patriarch's grandfather in a tender voice, "Patriarch's grandfather, I'm going to play in the back mountain. If my mother finds me in a while, you can tell me that I'm going to your house, okay?" 99. There are many tree holes in the back mountain, don't run too far, you will be back in a while. The Patriarch said kindly. "Don't worry, Patriarch Grandpa, I am most familiar with House Hun." Then, little Lin Xiao left without looking back. Harry never thought that when Lin Xiao was so cute when he was a child, he was about to make fun of him, but found that Lin Xiao's eyes were already full of tears, and he called softly, "Grandpa Patriarch." Harry didn't speak for a moment. Lin Xiao and Harry followed the young Lin Xiao to the back mountain, and they didn't see it. Behind them, the Patriarch's grandfather kept his eyes fixed on the direction they left, following their figures. 4 flowers. Lin Xiao and Harry followed the young Lin Xiao to a tree hole. Lin Xiao instantly recognized that this was the cave where he and his friends often came to hide and seek. They discovered this cave by accident at the time, and later it became a secret base for him and a few partners, who came here often. But today, when Lin Xiao arrived, he found that he was the only one. He searched the whole cave back and forth, but there was still no one there. "Hey, where have you been?" Little Lin Xiao shouted loudly, "Are you there?" Little Lin Xiao was about to go back without seeing anyone, and suddenly heard a slight moan from the depths of the cave. Little Lin Xiao looked towards the dark place, "Are you there? Our hide-and-seek has not started yet." He waited for a while, no one responded, and Lin Xiao shouted again, "Are you there? If you don't speak, I'll go back, it's too dark here." Little Lin Xiao didn't dare to go forward. He waited for a while, but there was still no sound. He turned to leave, and another voice came out of the dark. "What?" This time the voice was obvious, and Lin Xiao heard it and walked over. "Don't go over." Lin Xiao shouted suddenly, and Harry was startled by Lin Xiao's sudden voice. When Harry saw Lin Xiao's body, black smoke began to rise, and suddenly shouted, "No. Lin Xiao is scared." Harry shook his arm and kept calling him, "Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao." But Lin Xiao didn't react in the slightest, he followed Lin Xiao all the time, and the two walked deep into the cave. When little Lin Xiao came to the depths of the cave, he found a ray of light inside and ran over instantly, "I knew you were here. Look, I found you." As soon as he finished speaking, he was stunned by the scene in front of him, his eyes were full of fear, his legs trembled involuntarily, and he wanted to turn around, but his legs didn't obey him, so he could only stand there blankly. Harry felt even more fear on Lin Xiao, he didn't know what was going on, so he looked towards Lin Xiao. When he saw it, he was also stunned by the sight in front of him. He couldn't believe it. What did he see? He saw a wizard standing opposite little Lin Xiao. In front of them, 7 or 8 children rolled on the ground in pain. Harry could see at a glance that they had been cast on a spell, and this spell, he just happened to know, the crucifixion. The person being cursed is like being stabbed in the heart by 10,000 needles. This kind of pain is unbearable even for adults, let alone children. But what shocked him even more was that the person standing opposite them was a group of ordinary children who used spells. He and Lin Xiao also knew each other. It was Li Ningning, the current director of the China Wizarding Institute. 313. Harry's first reaction was to look at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, like little Lin Xiao, both froze in place. Harry thought, these things have passed for a long time, so Lin Xiao may have forgotten the appearance of this person back then, but it is ironic to see it again at this time. When Harry took a closer look, he found that something was wrong with Director Lee at this time. The expression on her face was something they had never seen before. She looked at these teenagers who were rolling on the ground as if she were looking at food. Sure enough, the fears of these teenagers lying on the ground continued to increase because of the pain, and Director Lee absorbed the fears of those teenagers at this time, occupied their spirits, and completely swallowed all their spiritual power. As the youth's mental power disappeared, they slowly stopped struggling, and in the end, there was no sound at all. Little Lin Xiao looked at all this in disbelief. After Director Lee absorbed everyone's mental power, he realized that little Lin Xiao had already stood opposite her. Harry shouted to little Lin Xiao, "What are you doing standing there? Run!" 35. Little Lin Xiao seemed to hear Harry's voice and ran out instantly before Director Lee waved his wand. Director Lee looked at the little Lin Xiao who ran out, but did not chase after him immediately. She first absorbed the power from her body for a while, and after all the power merged with the energy on her body, with a cruel smile on her face, she chased the direction that little Lin Xiao ran just now and chased out. Lin Xiao and Harry followed her behind Director Lee, who ran to the village. Not knowing what Lin Xiao suddenly remembered, he suddenly shouted, "Don't." These two words, like a magic spell, opened the Dora's box. They saw Li Ningning fly into the air, took out his wand and waved it in the air a few times, and then they heard miserable shouts all over the village. "Don't! Don't!" Lin Xiao rushed up, but it was too late. As the incantation was issued, it was like sharp swords, stabbing everyone's body with precision. Lin Xiao instantly froze in the air. He looked at everyone he knew, at the moment like a huge reptile, rolling back and forth on the ground. A shrill cry resounded everywhere they were. "Don't!" Lin Xiao rushed down suddenly. Harry saw that it was the Patriarch's grandpa he had just seen. The Patriarch's grandfather, who had a kind face just now, was like a maggot, rolling on the ground, screaming miserably because of the pain. "Grandpa Patriarch!" Lin Xiaogui shouted helplessly beside him, "What should I do? Tell me, what should I do to save you?" However, the Patriarch's grandfather could not hear Lin Xiao's voice at all, and was still lying on the ground rolling over and over. Little Lin Xiao ran out of nowhere. He and Lin Xiao were alone, kneeling on both sides of the Patriarch's grandfather. "Patriarch Grandpa." Little Lin Xiao's eyes filled with tears. "You, why, came over?" The Patriarch's grandfather said intermittently when he saw that it was him, "No, let you, hurry, run." 35. "Grandpa Patriarch, my mother." "She." Little Lin Xiao hated looking at Li Ningning who was absorbing energy with his eyes closed in midair. He asked, "Who is that person? Why did he treat us?" The Patriarch's grandfather shook his head. "Little Lin Xiao, run quickly, you must run out." I don't run." Lin Xiao cried and shouted, "You and mother, and my friends, they are all here, I won't run." The Patriarch's grandfather may have felt that his physical strength is gradually disappearing, and using all his strength, he put a ring on the body of little Lin Xiao, and shouted to him, "Run. No matter what, you have to live. Go down, to live, to be able to." Before the Patriarch's grandfather finished speaking, he felt a shadow shrouded his head. It was Li Ningning. Harry heard Li Ningning's voice, which was completely different from the voice of Director Lee he heard before. Her voice was cold and biting. She looked at Lin Xiao strangely. "You are really tough, my spell is actually right. You are useless. I don't like the existence of power that threatens me." Li Ningning was about to take out his wand, and just about to wave it. The Patriarch's grandfather, who was lying on the ground, didn't know where the power came from, but stood up from the ground. Holding Li Ningning's wand firmly in his hand, he interrupted the incantation he was about to say. Lin Xiao seemed to have reacted, tried his best, ran forward, and disappeared in front of them. The blue veins burst out on the Patriarch's hand. He held Li Ningning's wand fiercely and didn't let go until he couldn't see Lin Xiao's figure, and then he lay on the ground as if he was exhausted. Li Ningning was injured by the Patriarch, and the power that had not been fully absorbed in the first place, because the Patriarch's grandfather, the power surged in the body. Li Ningning had no choice but to give up chasing Lin Xiao, and stayed on the spot, absorbing all the power. "Grandpa Patriarch!" Lin Xiao shouted, watching Grandpa Patriarch's body fall down in front of him with his own eyes. Lin Xiao looked at Li Ningning's eyes, filled with monstrous hatred. This hatred was stronger than the negative emotions of everyone here combined. Harry kept shaking Lin Xiao. "Lin Xiao, wake up, if you go on like this, the tree man will completely turn into a 1-3 shape." Harry didn't know how to face the situation in front of him at all. He never imagined that Director Lee, whom they had always admired, would do such a thing. He was completely powerless, because now Lin Xiao was about to enter a state of madness. He knew that he should let Lin Xiao come out, but in the face of such a monstrous blood feud, he didn't know what to do. Is it like Director Lin, to persuade Lin Xiao to let go of this bloody feud and forgive Li Ningning? He couldn't say such words. Harry, do you want to be my enemy? Ah. 35. And now, I am still here with my enemy, and I want him to help me improve my strength. It's ridiculous. No, Lin Xiao. Harry's hand tightly gripped the blade of the phoenix dagger, the blood in his hand was cut by the dagger, and the blood flowed onto the phoenix dagger, dissipating a lot of black smoke. Lin Xiao, calm down. It may not be what we saw. Harry didn't know how to explain. Maybe all this is just an illusion, just made by the tree people to arouse your hatred. Phantom. Harry heard the hoarse voice of the tree man. Ha 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 ha, as expected, I did not misread you. As long as you break through your psychological defense, you will be my best nourishment. Lin Xiao's eyes kept staring at the tree man, but he said to Harry, I just want revenge. I just want to go out and get revenge. Who told you that I sucked his power to get revenge? You tell me, what would you do if you were me? Harry shook his head. How could I possibly be your enemy? But, did you know that it's very possible that you... Lin Xiao also heard the voice of the tree man, but he was completely blinded by hatred. He said, don't you want my hatred to break this formation and rush out? Okay, I'll give it to you, I all for you. 99. Lin Xiao held the end of the phoenix dagger in one hand and said softly, you just used it to absorb the power, and then transmit it back to you. Lin Xiao, aren't you curious, what happened to Li Ningning? Why did she do this? The tree man tried to divert Lin Xiao's attention. Lin Xiao ignored him, turned to look at the tree man, walked over step by step, stood in front of him, looked at his unformed entity, and a trace of contempt flashed in his eyes. Lin Xiao said, I think I was wrong. You have absorbed so much power before, but you still can't get out of here, but I put the hope of revenge on you, which is simply a fantasy. The black mist on the phoenix dagger was getting thicker and thicker. Harry couldn't recognize it now that it was the phoenix dagger that nourished his soul back then. The fear on the tree man's face deepened. Stop it. Lin Xiao, stop it. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. I've been looking for the murderer of my relatives. I thought it was at Hogwarts, so I went to Hogwarts, but I didn't find any clues there. Lin Xiao looked at him. Do you know, I even thought that what I experienced was just a dream. It was a dream that I had relatives, it was a dream that I had friends, and even the patriarch and grandfather were the characters in my dream. 35. My relatives are dead, but she is still alive and well. She is still in this China Wizarding Institute, and she is well in front of her director. Why? How can there be such a good thing in the world? Harry watched the tree man's stature getting weaker and weaker, and it was almost impossible to maintain his stature. Lin Xiao looked at the corpse of the patriarch's grandfather, knelt beside him, and shouted sternly. Lin Xiao's whole body was shrouded in a thick black mist. Lin Xiao's eyes were full of scarlet, but with a smile on his face, he said, I'm just taking some interest first. But fortunately, freedom is destined somewhere. Lin Xiao said, if I hadn't followed you to China, this China Wizarding house, and here again, I would have almost forgotten that my relatives back then, how did I get sick and die in front of me? Who knew that Lin Xiao didn't care at all? I don't care why she did this, she killed my relatives, killed my friends, and destroyed my family, such a bloody feud. Do I still need to understand her difficulties? Lin Xiao, stop. Harry pulled Lin Xiao's shoulders, but it was meaningless. Lin Xiao pushed Harry to the 07th floor. Lin Xiao looked at him. What? Do you want to stop me too? It's not an illusion. Lin Xiao looked at Harry. I've experienced it, all this is my own experience. You don't know how desperate I was back then. Lin Xiao listened to him impatiently, interrupted him 313 and said, since you don't want to be my enemy, don't get in the way of me. Harry, I now believe that there is destiny somewhere. Lin Xiao looked down at Harry. Do you know, those people are innocent ordinary people, they don't know anything about the magical world, they don't even know the existence of the magical world. What did they do wrong? 35. But at this time, Phoenix Dagger seemed to be completely separated from him, completely unable to feel his call. Lin Xiao's eyes bulged, his whole person was completely mad. He carried the power to destroy everything. Don't you want power? Go to Li Ningning to get revenge. Okay, I'll give you all. Lin Xiao summoned the Phoenix Dagger, because the dark side of Harry that had just been absorbed, the originally transparent Phoenix Dagger had been stained with some black mist. No. No, Lin Xiao, you can't treat me like this. The tree man felt the energy in his body entering the Phoenix Dagger little by little, and he wanted to control the Phoenix Dagger. Harry, aren't we here for him? You wait for me to drain his power, and we can go out. Lin Xiao looked at the tree man. From now on, there will be no more Li Suo in this world. Long dark side, I want to take revenge, it's just that person from beginning to end. Lin Xiao looked at Harry. If anyone stops me, who is my enemy? He put the phoenix dagger in front of the tree man. A trace of fear flashed in the tree man's eyes. What are you going to do? Stop. Lin Xiao asked him back, why should I stop? If I remember correctly, you are also part of Li Ningning's body, then. You are my enemy, why should I stop? No one could let go of such hatred, and neither could Harry. Lin Xiao looked at Harry and asked, if you were me, would you let her go? Lin Xiao, calm down first. Harry looked at Lin Xiao. I know you have hatred, and I know you want revenge, but in any case, it was Li Ningning who killed your relatives, not that the person in front of you was a ghost. Ghost tree man, even if you want to take revenge, you have to wait until you go out. The tree man looked at Lin Xiao with panic, and he looked at Lin Xiao not confidently. What are you going to do? Myriad Gus pierce your heart. Do you know how painful this is? Lin Xiao's eyes were filled with hatred. It's ridiculous. It's just because she wants to gain those powers that don't belong to her, as long as these innocent people, for the sake of does she pay for her life? Why is she? What's the matter? Harry took the dagger from Lin Xiao's hand and said to the tree man, so, something very important must have happened in the middle, and he maliciously tampered with or erased it. Lin Xiao, stop. Harry shouted loudly, don't forget, we have to go back to Hogwarts. 35. If they do something irreversible here, according to the status of the China Wizarding Institute, they will definitely let the magic world all over the world know about this, is a problem. Harry shook his head, we are partners, no matter when, I will never be your enemy, but, Lin Xiao, you can't do that. He didn't know whether to cry or laugh for a while. The phoenix dagger was also a part of his body, but just now, he was forced to cut off the phoenix dagger's sensing power to him, and now to regain his strength, he had to rely on the consent of others. Unable to look at Lin Xiao, Harry just looked at the tree man, and in a few moments, the tree man almost became transparent, and it was almost impossible to maintain his physical human form. Harry looked at the tree man slumped on the ground. You can't use his power to deal with Li Ningning, don't forget, he is made up of negative emotions. You use his power, then your body will inevitably be it is also full of dark sides. Don't say, you are not as lucky as Li Ningning, there is a phoenix resting tree that can help you kick out the dirt together, even if there is. The tree man said at once, I say. There is one more strange thing, Lin Xiao, it stands to reason that your massacre of the village is quite a hatred. You have seen Director Li's face with your own eyes. According to your memory, you are no matter what. She will never forget her face, even if this face is very different from what she is now. Are you going to make another monster like him out of your body? Harry said to the tree man in the coldest tone, most of your body's power has been absorbed by the phoenix dagger, so you'd better wake up and tell us all the facts. Otherwise, I really use this the phoenix dagger drains your spirit and leaves you completely in shreds. 99. Lin Xiao, what are you doing? Stop. Harry looked into Lin Xiao's eyes. Lin Xiao was absorbing his spiritual power with the phoenix dagger. He never thought that Li Ningning would send it over this time, so two perverts, one was obviously afraid that he was afraid to die, but at this time, he could still threaten him, the other, from the beginning, his mental power had not he was able to control him, and after letting him see those scenes, he was sucked dry of his mental power. I just want revenge. Lin Xiao looked down at the tree man condescendingly, it doesn't matter what power I use, I just want revenge. Dumbledore is still waiting for us to go back. Harry knew that only Dumbledore could arouse Lin Xiao's emotions at this time. The tree man squatted on the ground and said. Harry didn't want him to answer, but continued, also, Director Li was collecting fears at the time, Director Li was a wizard, he used magic spells, and he couldn't use human emotions at all, unless, that person he himself is a negative emotion. But in the next second, he felt that he suddenly entered the kind of trance state that the tree man had before. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. Lin Xiao kept his mouth shut, looked at the phoenix dagger, and the treant felt the next second that the phoenix dagger was transmitting power to his body. However, he had to endure, had to overcome. Lin Xiao doesn't have the energy to think at all now, he has to keep his sanity. Harry looked at the tree man. According to what I learned from Director Lin before, Director Li should have expelled the dark side of his body a long time ago. You know, Director Li will only be left with kindness. Hybrid. The tree man shook his head. No, they did expel the complete soul at that time, sealed them here and couldn't go out. However, the soul they expelled was not a dark side at all. 39. Lin Xiao glanced at the phoenix dagger, then Harry, and said to him, "Are you really going to help him come against me?" Harry looked at the tree man who had been showing off his power at him half an hour ago, but now he was slumped on the ground like a crippled man. "Even if you want to take revenge, should we first figure out what happened, Li Suo? Li Ningning, why did she suddenly become like that?" 35. Lin Xiao looked at the tree man, and the tree man listened to Harry's words, curled up and shivered, but did not answer Harry's words. Harry found that he couldn't keep staring at Lin Xiao, otherwise he would be sucked in by the phoenix dagger unconsciously. Half a soul. Harry glanced at Lin Xiao, "Isn't it a punishment?" The tree man glanced at Lin Xiao timidly, and then said, "I can let you guys watch the scene at that time again, but the strength in my body is not enough to support it for so long, so." Harry said, and brought the phoenix dagger close to the tree man. Lin Xiao stared at the phoenix dagger. The tree man could clearly feel the force in his body being sucked out. Actually, it is not entirely correct to say that I am a combination of the dark side of Li Ningning and the phoenix resting tree. I am actually a half-soul that was expelled from my body by them. However, the massacre of your village happened more than 10 years ago, which is illogical. Harry looked at the tree man. At that time, Director Li should not have such emotions, so it appeared in your village, the one who killed your relatives was probably. But, very good, these tree people dare not say it, and if they are not obedient, he really won't exist. The phoenix dagger fell to the ground because of its sudden momentum. What do you want to say? Lin Xiao interrupted him impatiently. At this time, Harry looked at the tree man, and he was still a little scared. Looking at him, he unconsciously remembered what he had just seen in the illusion. The phoenix dagger is worthy of being a divine artifact from the phoenix tree of rest. It actually has such an effect, but Harry looked at Lin Xiao. It seemed that all of them had underestimated Lin Xiao before, and from this moment onwards, Lin Xiao's strength had to be truly demonstrated. However, you only recognized her as your enemy when you saw her in the illusion. Why didn't you remember it before? Harry looked at Lin Xiao. If you really remember Director Li, then you should have nightmares every night, and then remember him firmly, but we have met Director Li several times, and you have no impression at all. Sure enough, after hearing Harry's words, Lin Xiao's movement stopped for a while, and the tree man took advantage of this moment to completely separate himself from the phoenix dagger. Speak quickly. Lin Xiao urged. Lin Xiao looked at him and asked, "This is the strangest thing. Wait, he's yours late at night, you mean, that grass tree man isn't you yet?" Harry was a little stunned by what he said. When they remembered and came here again, the two souls had merged, and they had completely changed. The tree man looked at them and said, "Both souls are not very healthy, but after merging together, however, he was able to form a half-tree person, and the half-tree person found that although this circle trapped him and couldn't get out, but for some reason, it also attracted the island and many dark emotions around it. But I have been detained here. For so long, I haven't heard any news about them. I only realized after seeing Lin Xiao's past illusion that he has been absorbing the darkness since he went out. Mood. What about the soul that's been expelled from the body?" 35 Harry asked. The soul power of the phoenix resting tree is too heavy, and Li Ningning's body can't carry it at all, even a single point of soul power, so she only absorbed part of the soul power that the phoenix resting tree passed on to Li Ningning. Said to them. That's right. The tree man continued. At that time, after fighting for a long time, both Bantree and Li Ningning's phoenix resting tree were injured. It was impossible for Li Ningning to completely eliminate Bantree people, so Li Ningning could only repeated tricks. The tree man looked at them and said. These negative emotions have become the nourishment for the half-tree people. Other wizards rely on spells to cultivate, and he relies on spiritual power. This is why I can absorb your spiritual power, because he himself relies on absorbing spiritual power. Cultivation. 35. The tree man said here and paused. And then what happened? What happened? The tree man looked at them and said. The tree man shook his head. Number 313, to strip the soul power from the body, and to control him to enter another person's soul, and to stay awake the whole time, the loss of spiritual power is quite large. At that time, Li Ningning thought that if she, divided the half-tree people into two parts, she could weaken half of the half-tree people's strength. Moreover, after they placed a ban on the magic circle, any dark side would not come here, therefore, after the Banchur's strength will not increase for the time being, they will leave first and recover from their injuries. Originally, Bantree was a fusion of half-soul, so Li Ningning redivided Bantree into two parts. One is him, the incomplete Li Ningning you see in the picture, and the other is me. 99. The tree man looked at Lin Xiao. This is all I know, the rest, you have to ask Li Ningning, he may know more than me. The tree man said speechlessly. Expel that soul. The Phoenix Resting Tree uses itself to smelt the Phoenix Dagger, and let the Phoenix Dagger nourish Director Li's soul. After Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree came, they found that their one-time mistake had already caused a catastrophe, so they wanted to wipe out the Bantree people completely. However, the Bantree people are the power in their bodies. The tree man has been cultivating for so long, and the two of them together can only seriously hurt it. Harry knocked the Phoenix Dagger to the ground and threatened, "Come on." 95. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. When they came over, Bantree had already cultivated into 3/4 of a tree. At that time, he only needed some nourishment to become a complete tree. At that time, the magic circle would not be able to hold him back. The tree man had a bloody expression on his face. The part of the soul power that was not absorbed by the Phoenix Resting Tree. Harry glanced at Lin Xiao and asked. The tree man shook his head. At that time, they only had enough time to leave a magic circle here, guaranteeing that they would not escape here to harm the world, so they didn't care anymore. Just heard it badly? Harry repeated thoughtfully. The tree man shook his head. It wasn't exactly me, it was me later. This may be because you were also absorbed negative emotions at the time. You had seen him at that time, so he absorbed not only mental power, but also soul power. You may have been too scared at the time, and you didn't see him clearly. Face. He absorbed your fears, so you basically forgot about it. It's not the dark side, what is that? Harry asked. Then Li Ningning and Phoenix Resting Tree didn't remember that they left such a big scourge here. Harry looked at him and asked. The tree man nodded, that's right. Without me being a hindrance, his strength is many times stronger than before. When Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree came again, the man knocked Li Ningning stunned and severely injured Phoenix Resting Tree, then escaped from here. When the half-tree man was attracting nourishment at that time, he found that it was difficult for Li Ningning's soul power to merge with the soul power of the Phoenix Resting Tree. Because the soul power was not fused well, it greatly affected his performance. Speed. Later, when Li Ningning and the others came, he seriously injured Li Ningning, just so that Li Ningning could help him expel that part of the soul force that could not be fused out of his body. As you all know, the Phoenix Resting Tree is a 10,000-year-old spiritual tree. It has long been indistinguishable from humans, and is even more savvy than most humans, so his soul power, transmitted to Li Ningning's body, is simply a tiger with wings. The tree man drooped his head and nodded, it can only be me. In the magical world, everyone has their own magic that they are good at. I hope they have magic that they are not good at. The magic that they are good at is their talent, and what they are not good at is their weakness. At that time, with the help of the Phoenix Resting Tree, Li Ningning expelled her. In the genes, the soul that lacks some soul power. However, they didn't realize it at the time. In their opinion, dividing the Bantree people into two parts weakened the strength of the Bantree people, but, in fact, it was the Bantree people who took advantage of them. 39. Wait, don't tell me you are the part of the soul that was disliked by Li Ningning, and later disliked by the half-tree man. Harry looked at him and asked suspiciously. The one who appeared in my village, is the other half-tree man? Lin Xiao looked at him and asked. Why, before I saw that fantasy, I didn't remember this at all, and I didn't notice any lack of memory in my memory. After seeing it, I remembered it instantly. At that time, Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree just wanted to absorb soul power, and they had already spent all their energy. When the absorption was completed, they all passed out. 35. What about Li Ningning's soul power and part of the soul of the Phoenix Resting Tree? They didn't care anymore. Harry asked. The tree man glanced at Harry, then looked at Lin Xiao and said, So, Lin Xiao, if you want revenge, if you have any complaints, go to the tree man who escaped. It has nothing to do with me. Here, never been out. 55. Harry looked at the tree man and said, I don't believe you're here and you haven't done anything bad. 35. The tree man looked sad and urged, How can I do bad things? Don't you know, that bastard Li Ningning, every time a particularly talented tester comes to the China Wizard Institute, she sends that person to me. Here to try, at the beginning, I can absorb their dark side to improve myself for a short time. Later, they were all beaten back to their original shape by those people, every time, without exception. The treeman said sadly, he also has a touch of the soul of the Phoenix Resting Tree of the 10,000 years divine tree, and Li Ningning, the most mysterious soul of the director since the creation of the Chinese wizard, two powerful souls, unexpectedly combined. He's a weak chicken, you say, where does this make sense? Today, I was almost completely wiped out by that Lin Xiao, how embarrassing and embarrassing. Lin Xiao looked at the tree man and said, Do you have any news about the tree man who escaped later? 35. The tree man shook his head. It's just that Li Ningning mentions it when he comes over occasionally. She seems to have been following the tree man's news. I heard that some time ago, she said that she felt that there were fluctuations in the tree man's spiritual power on a train. She immediately ran after her, but it was too late when she ran after her. The tree man looked at Lin Xiao vigilantly. I know all about that tree man, and the rest is not very clear. If you want to know, just ask Li Ningning. Lin Xiao put the dagger on the tree man's body, and the tree man's face turned pale in an instant. I really should have said. I have already said what I shouldn't have said. If you ask me again, I really don't know. You were lying about two things just now. Lin Xiao looked at him. The first thing, you said that Director Li noticed the fluctuation of spiritual power on a train and chased after him. However, according to my knowledge, Director Lin and the Phoenix Resting Tree cannot leave this island for half a step for the sake of this magic circle. How did you say she chased after it? Oh, what I said is true. The tree man cautiously avoided the dagger, for fear that if he accidentally let the Phoenix dagger absorb his power, he would be completely wiped out. Li Ningning has long since reached the time when she does not need to pursue physical pursuit. She can transform into several avatars. These avatars can be complete individuals and can maintain contact with the main body. Therefore, she and the Phoenix Resting Tree do not have to go there by themselves. Just send out a clone to replace them. How strong is that tree man? Lin Xiao continued to ask. I really don't know about this. After he escaped, Li Ningning should have caught up with him twice, but both came back with serious injuries. You don't know how damn it that woman is. Every time she was seriously injured, she came to me. Here, it is too much to take my strength to heal the wound. Having said that, the tree man looked at him and said, Lin Xiao, anyway, that tree man was separated from Li Ningning and Phoenix Resting Tree after all, and there will definitely be a feeling between them. If you want revenge, you can start with Li Ningning. What do you think? Lin Xiao glanced at him. The Phoenix dagger gave him another point, and then said, don't think I don't know your mind. You just can't get out temporarily. There is no chance to do bad things. As long as you can get out, you won't how much better than that tree man. Lin Xiao looked at him and warned him, I advise you, if you don't want to be annihilated, just stay here for me honestly, be your meat shield. If you dare to have any other thoughts, I will definitely make you disappear completely. Lin Xiao looked at Harry, and Harry looked at the tree man and asked, previously, Director Lin clearly said that after entering, if he can get out of here alive, he will definitely be reborn. Why, I don't feel anything. Hearing this, the tree man didn't care that he was still a threatened person. He rolled his eyes and said, don't you feel that there is mental oppression everywhere here? This place is originally a magic circle. In addition to preventing me from going out, it has another effect, which is to suppress the spirit of the people who come in. After you came in, the bastard Li Ningning added another suppression. Spiritual suppression is a test of people's spiritual power. As long as you walk out from here, you can feel that your spiritual power is much stronger than before. Also, it's not wrong to say that you are reborn. Do you feel that your whole person is much more relaxed now? You don't have so many burdens. The tree man looked at Harry. Your fear, so that at any time, there will be no chance of being used by the enemy. 0. Ask for flowers. I have the impression that the little brat you mentioned, Director Lin, he is a pervert just like you. I have never seen anyone who is so cruel to me. I have only met him once. Since then, I don't want to see him anymore. I can't afford it, can't I hide? After the tree man chatted, he looked at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, if you want revenge, make good use of this Phoenix dagger in your hand. He treats me the same as that tree man. It's a good thing, having it can make us achieve twice the result with half the effort, and even more than that. I am moved, let alone him. 0. When Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree tempered the Phoenix dagger, I don't know where it was thrown. I guess that tree man is also looking for him, so if you want revenge, the Phoenix dagger must be hidden. However, if you want to survive, you should throw it as soon as possible. The tree man looked at Lin Xiao and said, Phoenix dagger, the tree man will definitely grab it no matter what. To be honest, at your current level, it's really good. Not necessarily his opponent. I guess, according to that guy's cultivation speed, Li Ningning is not necessarily his opponent now. The tree man shuddered and said. Lin Xiao looked at him and nodded. At this time, he realized that the tree people they saw before were all deliberately done by this guy. Although he also feeds on the dark side, for so long, every time he absorbs the dark side of others is healed by the good side, and his core has changed a long time ago, but he himself does not know it yet. But Lin Xiao wasn't going to remind him. No wonder he was the worst among everyone, because he was the dumbest. Lin Xiao aimed the Phoenix dagger at himself, and after passing all the black mist on it to himself, he pushed the Phoenix dagger behind the tree man. The tree man was startled at first, thinking that Lin Xiao still had to absorb his own power. When he closed his eyes and wanted to accept his fate, he felt that the power that had disappeared in his body came back. He looked at Lin Xiao in shock, and just as he was about to speak, Lin Xiao interrupted him. "Shut up and turn around." The tree man pouted and said, "Why are you so fierce?" Lin Xiao and Harry both rolled their eyes at him, just trying to get an inch. After using the Phoenix dagger to transfer the power to the tree man, Lin Xiao didn't want to stay here for a moment, so he asked, "How are we going to get out now?" The Phoenix resting tree did not expect that Lin Xiao was about to go out so impatiently. He looked at Lin Xiao cautiously. Lin Xiao is completely impatient now, and the Phoenix resting tree can see that he just wants to get out quickly, then finish the trial, find the other tree man, and take revenge. However, although the Phoenix resting tree was a little hesitant, he still said bravely, "You can't go out yet." Lin Xiao stared at him, "But there is one thing, if you don't explain it to me clearly, you don't want to live." Phoenix resting tree is also very helpless, but this is not a decision he made. If Li Ningning and the administrator know that he has changed the rules without authorization, he will be stripped. Lin Xiao obviously won't do anything to him now. Compared to the two of them, he is more afraid of that bastard Li Ningning. Right now, he would rather offend Lin Xiao than Li Ningning. So, even if the other party looked like he was going to kill him, he still had to say, "Oh, don't stare at me like that, it's not my decision, if that bastard Li Ningning knows, I'll change the rules without authorization, I'm not as simple as being wiped out." "Then you say, how can we get out?" Harry asked impatiently. When the Phoenix resting tree heard these words, it even looked like it was going out, closing its eyes and shouting to the two of them, "You must defeat me before you can go out." Hearing this sentence, both Lin Xiao and Harry were obviously stunned for a moment. When they came back to their senses just now, they both looked at the Phoenix resting tree with gnashing teeth. Lin Xiao put his hand on the shoulder of the Phoenix resting tree. "Why didn't you just say it?" If he had known to defeat him earlier, he would have been able to come out from here. He had just eaten his fill and used the Phoenix dagger to give him all his strength. The Phoenix resting tree whispered, "You didn't ask just now." 39. You. Lin Xiao sneered as he watched Phoenix rest. "To be honest, I'm quite impatient now. Now, either, I'll use the Phoenix dagger to absorb your power, beat you up, and then we'll go out. Or, the Phoenix dagger the power on the top, I will absorb it, then beat you up, we will go out. Pick it yourself." The Phoenix resting tree looked at Lin Xiao with dissatisfaction, "Not bullying people like that. Could you show him a little respect?" Lin Xiao and Harry both looked at the Phoenix resting tree coldly, and then slowly approached him. About 10 minutes later, in the formation, a shrill scream suddenly came out, and then, two figures came out of the formation. When they came out, the strong wind outside had stopped at this time. Lin Xiao and Harry looked to the sky. Although they had only been in for less than 2 days, to Lin Xiao and Harry, it seemed like half a century had passed. Lin Xiao also didn't expect that after they went in and ate, those memories that had long been forgotten would come back to his mind, and now he still bears a bloody vengeance. Lin Xiao looked at his palm. In the end, he still absorbed the remaining power from the Phoenix dagger into his body. Harry looked at him worriedly. "Lin Xiao, what you did just now. Won't it have any effect?" Lin Xiao sneered and said, "Then let's see, did they influence me, or did I influence them?" "Harry, don't you want to know the result? I'd really like to see if there is such a power that can completely turn a person into another person." Lin Xiao looked at him and said, "If a person gains some power and changes from one person to another, it only means that the person himself cannot be himself." Harry continued his words, but he was still worried. Harry touched the scar on his forehead. It was much lighter now, but every time he touched it, he remembered the time when he was under Voldemort's control. Some things don't necessarily go in the direction they want. Lin Xiao patted Harry on the shoulder. "Don't worry. Just these mental powers are not enough to have any effect on me." Harry could only nod his head. As the two came out of the formation, Harry asked, "Lin Xiao, what are you going to do next? Are you going to seek revenge for the other tree man?" Lin Xiao looked at a group of figures walking towards them not far away, and said to Harry, "I will avenge my revenge no matter what, but not now, you see." Lin Xiao looked at those people, "Nor will they allow us to drop everything here now to take revenge." Harry looked in Lin Xiao's direction. Director Lin, Director Li, and the administrator came over together. Lin Xiao walked towards them first, stood in front of them, and said to Director Lin who brought them in, "Director Lin, I don't know why, I have a feeling that someone has been used, what do you say?" Director Lin did not answer his question, but said, "As expected, you didn't disappoint us, it really took more than a day to get out of it, it's a miracle." Lin Xiao looked at him, his eyes no longer had the admiration and respect he had before. "I thought, you should have known it long ago." After all, you all know that the Phoenix Dagger is in my hands, right? With the Phoenix Dagger, how could the idiot who is locked in by you and can't come out as my opponent? Lin Xiao looked at Li Ningning. This is the first time he has taken a serious look at Li Ningning. Before entering here, his impression of Li 1. 3 Ningning was similar to that of Dumbledore, because she is the same person as Dumbledore. She is like Dumbledore of the China Wizarding Institute, guarding the entire Chinese wizarding house. But now it seems that it is still wrong. They are not the same. Dumbledore will not create a monster that he has no control over in order to increase his power. Dumbledore will not let an innocent creature be imprisoned in this inch of land in order to expand his power. Dumbledore would not put his students at risk. That Lin Xiao's mission is to lead Hogwarts to prosperity, and even to lead China Wizarding House, and the entire magical world, to become powerful. This is the reason why he, Lin Xiao, the son of a changer, exists. After speaking, Li Ningning looked at Director Lin. Director Lin will take them back, and then arrange their trials. If they can't finish, let them stay here forever. After Li Ningning turned around and was about to leave, Lin Xiao stepped forward and stopped her. Lin Xiao, Director Lin stopped Lin Xiao, pay attention to your attitude. Director Li, she. Hearing Lin Xiao's words, Li Ningning came out of his own thoughts, looked at Lin Xiao who was obviously hostile to her, smiled lightly, and said, whatever you want to know. Or what do you want to do after you know it? Don't forget, you still have trials to complete. The rules of the China Wizard Institute, if you can't complete the trial, you can't leave the China Wizard Institute for the rest of your life, not to mention, what will you do after you go out? Or, let them leave sideways. Lin Xiao looked at Li Ningning, and her eyes were filled with various emotions. From the beginning of expectation, it turned to regret later, and slowly I didn't know what I thought, and it turned into a frenzy. Li Ningning took the dagger back and did not return it to Lin Xiao. Phoenix Dagger is something of my China Wizard Institute, and you are not qualified to have it until you have completed the trial. 99. Even if she offended Hogwarts, she wanted to keep these two teenagers at all costs. It's just a pity that you didn't tell us directly, but forced us to board this boat with you in this way. Lin Xiao looked at Director Lin. I hate being betrayed by others, especially being trusted by myself. People. 99. Lin Xiao, if you don't have the strength to take revenge, then put all your thoughts away, hide them well, and don't let others feel the slightest bit. Li Ningning looked at Lin Xiao, to the enemy who can't be killed, release your own hatred will only make the enemy happy. After speaking, Li Ningning turned to look at Director Lin. Director Lin, both of them are from your group, so you can take them to continue the trial. Director Li approached Lin Xiao, sucked the Phoenix Dagger out of his hand, and then pointed the Phoenix Dagger at Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, I don't need to remind you, you can get out of here by relying on it. And its power comes from me. You say if I want to take those power back, will it be easy? Really? Listen to you. Lin Xiao looked at her, listen to you, and then created such a monster, which is still causing harm to the world and even threatening the lives of ordinary people. If this is listening to you, as a result, I would rather not. Li Ningning bypassed him. I don't care how many things you have now, Lin Xiao, this is the China Wizarding Institute, I am the director of the China Wizarding Institute, here, you have to listen to me. Lin Xiao looked into Director Lin's eyes, his eyes were full of alienation. If, before we go in, you tell me everything, I will not refuse. The magical world is all one, that tree man, to China the Wizarding House, and even the entire wizarding world, is a danger, and as long as we can do something, we will not stand idly by. Director Lin and Harry both stepped forward to look at Li Ningning. Harry said, Director Li, no matter what, that tree man was created by you, he killed Lin Zhao's relatives, you can't treat him like that. If Harry is the destined son, his mission is to bring Hogwarts to defeat Voldemort and restore peace and tranquility to Hogwarts. You just want us to tie up to your boat and go with you. Wait. I still have something to ask. Director Lin looked at Li Ningning, Lin Xiao and Harry, and nodded. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. But when she knew about the grievances between Lin Xiao and another tree person in the Phoenix Resting Tree, she knew that this idea was too naive. Lin Xiao looked at her and said, Director Li, I think, you should know what I want to ask. Can't you treat him like this? Li Ningning looked at Lin Xiao, I tell you, Lin Xiao, the strength of the tree man, even I may not be his opponent, if you can't even beat me, don't you think when you meet when he is, you have to say to him, can't you treat me like this? Lin Xiao's eyes were full of provocation. He looked at Li Ningning's face, and there was an uncontrollable hatred in his heart. Back then, it was this face that wiped out his entire village. After Li Ningning left, Director Lin looked at Lin Xiao, whether you believe it or not, I didn't know that 330 you and would have such a grudge. Before you go in, I just thought that this place can be the fastest. To improve your strength and help you complete your trials. 39. She never imagined that the people who would be responsible for the future of the China Wizarding Institute would be two teenagers who did not belong to the China Wizarding Institute at all. Lin Xiao looked at the Phoenix Dagger, and he felt that, just after absorbing the abundant power, it was disappearing little by little. Thinking of this, Li Ningning sighed, it was really good luck. Li Ningning interrupted Director Lin, yes, even if you create such a monster again, at the China Wizarding Institute, you have to listen to me. Before that, they wondered if there would be any way, or any benefit, to keep the two teenagers in the China Wizarding Institute. When she knew that what they had accepted was the trial of the 9 tests, this thought kept spinning wildly in her mind. After speaking, Li Ningning left with the Phoenix Dagger. Director Lin looked at Li Ningning, nodded and replied, yes. Lin Xiao. Li Ningning said nothing. If she was Lin Xiao, he would be sensible if he didn't put all this hatred on her head. Wanting him to join the China Wizarding Institute is simply a dream. However, it is not without any benefits, at least, Lin Xiao and they have a common enemy, that is, the Tree Man. But he is not in the mood to understand Li Ningning's thoughts. He only knows that to get revenge, he can only find a breakthrough from Li Ningning. By the way, Lin Xiao continued Director Lin's words, you know that we will know about Shua and Director Li here, and you also know that when we know these facts, we will not tell Shua and China. The wizard stood idly by. When Lin Xiao was looking at Li Ningning was also looking at him. Li Ningning looked at Lin Xiao, she only now knew the value of Lin Xiao, not only to Hogwarts, but also to the China Wizarding House, and even the entire wizarding world. These two teenagers are no longer just to enhance the epigenetic power of the China Wizard Institute, but the existence of the China Wizard Institute's life and death. Lin Xiao believed that at their current learning rate, when he and Harry returned to Hogwarts, they would almost be able to fight Dumbledore, and maybe even have a chance to beat him. Moreover, they have gradually adapted to the pressure here, and his own spiritual power has obtained a qualitative leap. In the China Wizarding House, he and Harry seemed to be back in the fast-absorbing period when the Dumbledore army at Hogwarts was established. The two were talking in the room, completely unaware, and their conversations outside the door were all overheard by one person. Not to mention at Lin Xiao's age, Zhang Jianguo asked himself that even his current self doesn't have the perseverance of Lin Xiao and Harry. This is a power he has never seen before, and he can't understand what kind of good power is supporting Lin Xiao in front of him, allowing him to suppress such a heavy hatred. He is the guardian force of the China Wizard Institute and the strongest shield of the China Wizard Institute. He heard the conversation between the two people, but he was more able to feel Lin Xiao's emotions that were constantly hovering on the verge of collapse. If it was a normal time like at Hogwarts, with their strength, it would take at least 34 years before they would have such a result. Director Lin turned around and left, but did not see that when he turned around, the complexion of the Phoenix Resting Tree changed drastically. There was another reason that Lin Xiao didn't say. Okay. The Phoenix Resting Tree said so. An unfamiliar voice came to mind behind the Phoenix Resting Tree. Lin Xiao, do we still have to complete the trial here? Harry paused and said, I mean, we can use this matter to go directly to him. At this time, Li Ningning, won't stop us. 1 month, they can stay here for 1 month, and how much improvement they can make in this month is up to them. If they can't absorb the resources here to the maximum during this month, how can they be worthy of the suffering here? Director Lin nodded thoughtfully, that's the only explanation. If you have any news, be sure to tell me first. For Harry, this is an excellent way to learn. If they can stay here for a month, under the stimulation of the pleasure brought by continuous progress, with tenacity and perseverance, their strength will definitely increase gradually. He didn't mean anything else at all, it was him who had a bloody hatred on his body, and he respected his wishes. You'd better be wise, you should know that we are one, and if I get caught by them and vanish, you won't survive. Whether I stay here or not is my business. Phoenix Resting Tree said indifferently, how dare you come back here, are you not afraid, Li Ningning and the others? Director Lin did not answer his words, but mentioned another thing, Lin Xiao and the others have encountered inexplicable attacks several times, I suspect it has something to do with. They are all near the China Wizarding Institute, you and him there is an induction between them, haven't you sensed its existence yet? It's only been a few days here, but it's clear that both he and Harry's achievements have been enormous. The greatest pressure is the best catalyst. In this China Wizarding Institute, even if they are sleeping, their spirits are always tense, and their spiritual power will become stronger and stronger under such pressure. Lin Xiao and Harry left the formation and went back to their room speechlessly. The first time he wanted to comfort Lin Xiao, he found that Lin Xiao used his persistent belief to suppress the collapsed emotions. The Phoenix Resting Tree shook his head, and then said, he and I are able to sense each other, and he himself knows it. So, maybe he has found some way recently, so that I can't feel him at all. Maybe. Lin Xiao said to Harry, Harry, you don't have to worry about me, here, just like at Hogwarts, we will try our best to complete the trial and improve ourselves during the trial. Phoenix Resting Tree said. Director Lin looked at the backs of the two leaving, not knowing what he was thinking, his expression was inexplicable. This person is exactly the content of the trial they will face next, Zhang Jianguo. That way, when Harry returned to Hogwarts and faced Voldemort, it wouldn't be too difficult. I didn't expect that after so long, you are still such a waste. Intimidated by such a group of waste, you have been staying in this dark day, how do you feel like you are very happy? Zhang Jianguo frowned, his hand had been raised at least twice, but it was lowered twice. As the director of the China Wizarding Institute, as the most important guardian force of the China Wizarding Institute, he has not been so hesitant for at least several decades. In the room, Lin Xiao and Harry found Zhang Jianguo outside when he raised his hand for the third time, but neither of them spoke. After a while, when he turned around, no one could be seen. Although Lin Xiao looks normal now, he can feel that Lin Xiao's body is always in a tense state, but if there is any straw, he will completely collapse. If they found my whereabouts, it could only be that you betrayed me, said the voice, you know, I will never forgive those who betrayed me. 39. After speaking, he left, leaving Director Lin standing alone. Don't worry about it, he will understand you sooner or later. The voice of the Phoenix Resting Tree came to mind in Director Lin's ear. Harry nodded. Humph, just rely on them, said a very dissatisfied voice, but relying on them, you will never be able to catch me. Therefore, in addition to revenge, Lin Xiao is also willing to spend more time with Harry here. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, all bookings. That's right. He is a practitioner of the 9 examinations, making the China Wizard Institute set up for thousands of years and one of the few practitioners of the 9 examinations. Perhaps, only such perseverance is the talent of Jiao Cao. After the indifferent voice finished speaking with disdain, the Phoenix Resting Tree only felt a gust of wind. Lin Xiao shook his head, I just want to take revenge, so I have to complete the trial here. The power of the tree man comes from Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree, no matter what he develops later, this foundation will never change. Now there is no point in taking revenge hastily. I must find a way to fight against the tree people in the trials of Li Ningning and the Phoenix Resting Tree. They all knew that the next trial had begun. So, I didn't tell them, you are here. After Lin Xiao finished speaking, he and Harry passed him, the trial will continue tomorrow. Zhang Jianguo took out his wand, drew a circle in the air, and the moment he spoke the spell, Lin Xiao and Harry had already disappeared in place. Without much rest, Lin Xiao and Harry directly threw themselves into the trial. Because they had passed the pressure field before, so at first, there was no pressure for the two of them. When they got here, they understood that their trial had only just begun. Continuing to go up, the two of them are almost halfway through the stairs, 100 steps. At this point, the coercion of the full squeeze was felt again. Taking a deep breath, the two continued to walk up, until they reached 120 steps, and their pace became slower. Lin Xiao and Harry nodded. Then don't talk nonsense, Lin Xiao said, just take us there. After the pressure field, there is the attack field. This part was modified by Director Lin after he became the director. So far, I have not encountered any testers, and you are the first. There is a staircase on the bottom of the sea that leads directly to the China Wizards Institute. It is also the only passage for outsiders to enter the China Wizards Institute other than the through train. If they want to come to the China Wizards Institute, the first step is to go through this staircase. The protection of the China Wizarding Institute? Lin Xiao murmured, what is it? Although it is only 50 steps to go up, but due to the qualitative leap of pressure, each step forward has to pay more and greater costs than before, not to mention, in the previous more than 100 steps, the two of them his mental strength and stamina have been consumed a lot, and the pressure has suddenly increased. It is not an easy task to complete the next 50 steps. Continue to go up, and soon, they have ascended the 60 steps. But when they got here, they found that this position is still very easy, because the pressure here is not as good as the pressure in the first quarter of the pressure field. That means, this time, if we want to pass the customs, we have to defeat 2 directors. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xiao looked up, and under the influence of the sea water, the scene above them was a little blurry. They want to pass, not 152, but 210. Judging from the current situation, with their current level, they will not exceed 180 steps at most, and there may be more than 50 steps behind. Even if the two of them can go up to level 10. What's going on? Has the pressure on the stairs disappeared? No, it's impossible. If it disappeared, Zhang Jinguo couldn't have let them come here. Zhang Jinguo nodded, yes, after all, this is the China Wizarding Institute. Lin Xiao found that after climbing the 120 steps, the pressure increased significantly, more than one level, just like their ability to withstand pressure has achieved a qualitative leap. Coming here, the pressure has also made a qualitative leap. After the attack field is the guard field, Zhang Jinguo looked at the two of them. The guard field was set up by Director Huang and Director Huang asked me to tell you that he will be waiting for you at the guard field. Zhang Jinguo told them, the pressure setting of this staircase is more than 3 times that of you in the pressure, field. You still have time. If you can't persist, call me to stop at any time, and don't be brave. 152, the last 50 steps, were soon stepped on by the two of them. You must know that the two of them have passed the test of the pressure field, and their body's ability to withstand pressure has long surpassed that of ordinary people. But even so, after they passed the 152 steps, they could clearly feel the heaviness of their bodies, and it became very difficult to take any step up. With suspicion, Lin Xiao and Harry continued up the stairs. You understand correctly. Zhang Jinguo nodded. Continuing to move up steadily and continuously, the super pressure resistance ability of the two of them gradually emerged. Every time they took a step forward, Lin Xiao felt a sense of conquest in his heart. I will be your next tester, but I have always decided the rules of my test. Zhang Jinguo looked at the two young people in front of him with complex eyes. Is it stressful on the stairs? Harry asked Zhang Jinguo, we are already so difficult on the flat ground, wouldn't it be even more difficult to go up the stairs? I know that you have passed the test of the pressure field before, Zhang Jinguo said to them. The protection of the China Wizard is also a pressure field, consisting of an attack field and a final protection field. However, this pressure field is similar to your previous pressure field. It is not the same level at all. The pressure field before you was on the flat ground, while the protective pressure field of the Chinese Wizard was on the bottom of the sea. All the way to the 30th step, the two talents felt a little pressure, but this pressure was not at the same level as before in the pressure field. Lin Xiao and Harry, their hearts suddenly became clear. It wasn't because of this pressure that the pressure of the stairs disappeared, but after they passed through the pressure field, their ability to resist pressure improved by leaps and bounds. Zhang Jinguo didn't stop, and continued to walk down a square. Only then did Lin Xiao and Harry realize that there was really a staircase below. I am the guardian of the China Wizard Institute, so I am responsible for all the protection of the China Wizard Institute. Zhang Jinguo paused, then said, the trial with me is not a confrontation. If you can break through me in the strictest protection set up by the Wizards of China, I will admit defeat. After calming down for a while, Zhang Jinguo entered the room of the two of them. After more than 40 levels, can they really pass? A big question mark appeared in the hearts of the two people. The fact is also true, after they passed the test of the pressure field, their bodies have broken through the previous limit, and the resistance to pressure has made a qualitative leap. The pressure of the pressure stairs close to the bottom of the sea is naturally difficult to have an effect on them, because the pressure is negligible, so they have no feeling. When they entered the first staircase, they all stopped, and a look of astonishment appeared on their faces. Because they found that the pressure here seems to be completely absent. After stepping on the 10th step, there is no difference from before. When Lin Xiao and Harry opened their eyes again, they found that they were already standing on the bottom of the sea. However, they didn't feel the air pressure. They remembered Zhang Jinguo's spell just now. It should have relieved the air pressure and allowed them to breathe freely in the sea. The two followed Zhang Jinguo to the open square where they first entered the China Wizarding Institute. Zhang Jinguo did not stop, and kept walking to the edge until they reached the water's edge. This time, neither Lin Xiao nor Harry paused, and went straight up to the 168th step. Harry was on the 167th step. The pressure was instantly lighter, but Harry's heart sank. Of course he knew how much it would cost Lin Xiao, and Lin Xiao was still ahead of him, so the cost would be even greater. There are only 4 steps left. Lin Xiao looked up and they could already see Zhang Jinguo, who was standing there waiting for them. What's going on? The sudden increase in consumption made the two of them tense. Not only can't lift his legs, but even the air he breathes has grown exponentially. In the past few days at the China Wizarding Institute, they have gained a lot, not only physical and strength improvement, but more importantly, the exercise of the heart. With the experience of these few days, their attitudes when facing difficulties are different from before. They will not be afraid, they will not retreat, they will only move forward. 0. Both Lin Xiao and Harry could clearly feel that the other party was gasping for breath at the moment. Their sweat had soaked through their clothes, but just like that, neither of them had any hesitation. With a soft sigh, he thought beside him, it must be very painful. This is the trial I faced at the beginning, starting from level 205 and the last 6 steps, it was a hellish ordeal for me, until now, I can't forget it either. By level 154, neither of them continued to climb. The huge pressure around them has made the physical strength of the two people reach an unprecedented height. The body that has just absorbed the power of the Phoenix resting tree still needs time to adjust. So now, what they have to face is a fireball, not only the rebound of pressure, but also the roasting of high temperature. Lin Xiao didn't want to do things that would help him grow, so he slowly stepped back from the position of the 154th steps. Under tremendous pressure, they have been working hard until now, and they have made great progress in both physical, mental, and magic. Both of them maintained a terrifying speed and continued to move forward. The 200 steps quickly reached the front, the speed of the two people also slowed down immediately, and the 201 steps passed. When the two walked to the 158th steps, Lin Xiao clearly saw a warm liquid flowing out of Harry's mouth. This can't be done. There are still more than 40 steps, and when the 160 steps are passed, the pressure after the jumping increase is absolutely impossible for the two of them. Although Lin Xiao and Harry had fully estimated the difficulties before, the physical condition of the two of them was worse than what they estimated before. The moment he passed the 167 steps, Harry's body trembled suddenly. With a sudden cry in their hearts, the two stepped forward again, and the obsession in their hearts began to play a role. In just a few days in the China Wizarding Institute, their mental outlook has greatly improved. There are more eyes in their eyes. Before they came here, they had never been firm. Lin Xiao and Harry glanced at each other and both saw surprises in each other's eyes, because although they felt the pressure of passing, they were able to move on. Going up the 208th steps, Lin Xiao nodded vigorously to Harry behind him, although this movement was extremely difficult. After resting for about half an hour, the two of them adjusted their physical condition to the best possible level. When they opened their eyes and looked at the long road in front of them, neither of them had any distractions in their hearts, they had no way out, they only had to go all out to attack again. But at this time, the physical condition of the two of them was also much worse than the last time. Although both of them gritted their teeth and refused to make a sound, their bodies kept shaking under the pressure. But even so, the two of them didn't hesitate at all. Lin Xiao looked at Harry's increasingly pale face and stopped him. He went up the 155 steps first and walked in front of Harry. When the two retreated to the 90 steps, they both stopped. When they came here, they did not leave any way out for themselves, and there was only one chance to complete the trial. Both Lin Xiao and Harry were unsure, and dared to say that they would definitely be able to complete this trial. This time, the speed of the two of them was very fast, and there was no pause under their feet. It was almost just an instant of effort, and they came to the 152 steps. When they got here, their footsteps stopped slowly. 207 steps, they stopped again. The sweat on their bodies is like a waterfall, seeping from their bodies layer by layer. Their physical strength has reached a terrifying level, and supporting their breathing has become more and more difficult. This is just the first step they have to take, and the road they have to take after that is extremely difficult. Zhang Jianguo looked at them and said, although they have passed through the pressure field, the pressure here is not just as simple as the pressure field. However, I am sure that they will succeed. 35. Taking a deep breath, the two continued to move forward, quickly passing the 154 steps where they stopped last time. But in this way, almost all the pressure was placed on Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao also groaned, but even so, Lin Xiao stood in front of Harry. In this way, the pressure on him was even greater, his face turned slightly pale, and both Lin Xiao and Harry stopped on this floor. No matter how difficult it is to move forward, the two of them can only go up one level. Starting again, the upward becomes more and more difficult. The breathing of both of them became extremely difficult, and even if Harry followed behind Lin Xiao, he was almost unable to bear it. Therefore, they have to break the boat for the final impact, and only when there is no way back can they maximize their potential. But when they stepped into the 205 steps, they could clearly feel that the pressure around them had undergone unprecedented changes. If the previous pressure is like an air balloon, they have to constantly bear the rebound of the balloon. With a secret sigh, Lin Xiao made his only choice. A force entered Harry's body, and Harry only felt a powerful life force pouring into his body like a spring. It was Lin Xiao who used the Phoenix dagger to pass on the power he had absorbed from the Phoenix resting tree to him. Naturally, Lin Xiao and Harry couldn't hear Zhang Jianguo's voice, and the pressure that suddenly became difficult made their physical strength doubled, but they didn't stop and didn't dare to stop. From the bottom of the sea to the ground, there are exactly 211 steps. Zhang Jianguo stood quietly on the 211st steps, looking at them below. Lin Xiao hesitated for a moment, put his hand on it, and pulled that hand fiercely. Harry followed suit. Lin Xiao and Harry were in the center of the attack, but they didn't see that when these sea creatures launched the attack, their whole bodies radiated all kinds of light, like streaks of light. Lin Xiao looked at those hands. It was Director Lin. It wasn't that he wanted to do this himself, but when they climbed the 210th step, the pressure they faced was not just a simple gas, but an incomparably terrifying pressure. After being knocked back by the waterfall wall for the first time, he immediately rushed up the second time. The attacks they launched were faster and stronger each time, and the intervals between them were smaller each time. Lin Xiao and Harry never expected that the second round of attacks would come so unexpectedly. After a brief shock, Lin Xiao made the most correct response in the shortest time and remained silent. His body was so heavy that he couldn't breathe under this enormous pressure. Bloodshots kept oozing out from the corners of her mouth. If it wasn't for Lin Xiao, who had been walking in front of him, he would have been unable to hold on. When they kept calling for the last step, they clearly felt that the pressure disappeared instantly. Both of them had completely lost the strength to support themselves and fell in front of Director Lin. Lin Xiao tried 67 times, but he failed to rise from level 209 to level 210. The gravity around his body was at least 3 times higher than before. Under such huge pressure, Lin Xiao felt like his body was about to be crushed. The overwhelming terrifying pressure squeezed towards him, but he still held Lin Xiao's shoulder tightly at that time, signaling him to stop. Their speed was extremely fast. Almost in an instant, Lin Xiao was surrounded by hundreds of marine creatures of all shapes and sizes, surrounding them, as if they were centered around them. A huge net blocked all their way forward and backward. In an instant, the power of the wand in Lin Xiao's hand erupted, flashing a black light towards the marine creatures closest to him. Director Lin still had his usual smile, squinted his eyes slightly, did not speak, and seemed to be waiting for them. They formed a formation, and at the front of the formation, a charge group was formed, and they launched an almost seamless attack on the two of them. After 209 steps, the two finally had the last 2 steps left. These marine creatures seem to be numerous, but they are not enough to threaten their safety. However, the attack of marine life has just begun at this time. After being scattered, they quickly adjusted their bodies and attacked Lin Xiao and Harry again. Only this time, they no longer attacked at the same time. A black light erupted from his wand. Although the wand did not attack any marine creatures, he fully demonstrated the explosive power of being a top-level wand. As the black light came out, the sea water not far away began to move violently. The waterfall wall is around them, forming a protective wall. This is his only chance. That arm seems to have a powerful force, the power to break through everything. Lin Xiao snorted coldly in his heart and stopped playing with you. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and he waved his wand again. With the time delay in 1.3, facing the constant attacks of these marine creatures, both of them have become impatient. Although they don't know how much these marine creatures can withstand, they don't want to avoid it. Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin stood on the periphery. Of course they didn't think that these sea creatures could cause any harm to Lin Xiao and Harry, especially Lin Xiao, since he absorbed the power of the Phoenix Dagger. His strength can only be described as terror. A hard and thick waterfall wall was formed, surrounding Lin Xiao and Harry in the center. The sea creatures next to it are scattered by Fallswall Town. Lin Xiao knew that his current physical condition was not enough to support him to 330s again. If this time, he can't climb the last 2 steps at once, then he will never have the chance to come here again. There is still the last level, but both of them saw despair in each other's eyes, and they have no strength to go up this last level. He bit his lip and stood beside Lin Xiao. At this time, 2 hands stretched out from above them, in front of their chests. Harry spat out a mouthful of blood. He knew that he only had the last 2 steps left, but the evidence in front of him had become blurred. The last 2 episodes were too urgent, and it seemed like an insurmountable moat in front of him. With that said, 2 golden lights popped out from the magic wand in Zhang Jianguo's hand, and in an instant, inexplicable marine creatures appeared in all directions around them without warning. Those sea creatures, seeing that Lin Xiao and Harry didn't move, just surrounded them. The 2 collapsed on the ground. Zhang Jianguo did not know when he had come to their side and said with a smile, "I knew that the pressure ladder is not too difficult for you. Now, your trial really begins." Lin Xiao and Harry, who were in the center of the attack, had absolutely no possibility of avoiding such a dense attack. At the moment when he was about to ascend the 210 steps, Lin Xiao suddenly opened his mouth and exhaled a hot breath. The expression on Lin Xiao's face did not change in the face of the sea creatures changing the way they attacked. The magic wand in his hand reinforced the waterfall wall again and again to ensure that they would not break through this line of defense and come to him. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. When they didn't have any action before, these sea creatures just surrounded them. At this time, their power moved those sea creatures and they moved, and attacked them at the same time. And his physical condition plummeted, but, Lin Xiao, did not stop moving up, but continued to move up, the final moment had come. While waving the wand, Chang Jiangwo and Director Lin who were standing outside could clearly see that every time Lin Xiao waved, a pure black light would appear around her body. For a time, hundreds of sea creatures were like countless dementors, rushing towards Lin Xiao and Harry at a time. Looking at the posture, they would never stop until they engulfed Lin Xiao and Harry. Sure enough, the magic wand in Lin Xiao's hand made circles in front of him, and at the same time, his body rotated around. Even if there were sea creatures attacking her around, it couldn't affect his actions. Cracks soon appeared in the waterfall wall. When he got here, his physical condition was already extremely poor. Facing the last 2 steps, his raised legs seemed to be tied by a hammer, and he couldn't go up. Lin Xiao felt that his body was extremely stiff, as if he was lying on a pile of iron balls. Lin Xiao clearly felt the qi and blood suddenly surging, and the whole body was indescribably uncomfortable. It seemed that every vein in the body was injured. Harry looked around and said, "I don't know where he came from, but he certainly didn't come directly from the sky. He should know, we are testing here, so he came here to prevent us from completing the test. But seeing that when he attacked you just now, he just stunned you. I guess he didn't mean to hurt us, he just wanted to prevent us from being able to pass 330 over the few hundred meters." For a time, the surroundings of their bodies instantly became quiet, but almost at this moment, a suffocating pressure spread throughout their bodies. He said angrily, "Although I knew that the trial would be very perverted, I didn't expect it to be perverted to such a degree. It's even if I don't give a little breathing time, and I still carry out indiscriminate attacks. I saw it just now, except for the beginning. In addition to those marine creatures, there is also a large turtle that finally attacks your turtle, and it is estimated that there is only such a turtle in the world." Lin Xiao drew circles with his right hand. Lin Xiao disappeared in the original place, and when he reappeared, his face became ugly. Under normal circumstances, when he reappeared with the Lord of the Rings, he had already arrived in front of them. However, in the teleport just now, he was not even able to get out of the encirclement of marine life. Just when Lin Xiao felt frustrated, he suddenly felt a wave of power around him, and he looked around almost subconsciously. A huge figure came down from the sky. Lin Xiao and Harry, before they could see his face clearly, there was an irresistible force coming from the seaside not far away. Lin Xiao and Harry only had time to sit down in a protective circle around them. Before they had time to do it with the next move, the whole person was hit by the force and collapsed to the ground. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. Lin Xiao and Harry were completely unprepared, and they didn't expect that the trial of the attack field would begin without even giving them time to breathe. Lin Xiao suddenly had a flash of inspiration and said to Harry, "Yes. If we divide this into 2 stages, our mission at this stage is not to defeat the Guardian, but to break through his line of defense and reach the opposite side. Just now since I didn't kill me, that means we're just going to get past him, not overcome it, so our chances of getting through these 3 affairs are pretty good." The distance between them was only 300 or 400 meters. Because of the attack just now, they moved forward a little distance. 300 or 400 meters, 407 him and Harry, it is only a short while, but there are marine creatures around them, and from the line of sight of Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin, it is obvious that these more than 300 meters are not so easy for people to pass through. A giant sea turtle? Lin Xiao gasped, "Another guardian beast. How many guardians are there in this China Wizarding Institute?" The two looked at Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin who were not far away, and their faces became very ugly. Puff. Harry was stunned for a moment, then said, "Lin Xiao, don't you think it's too simple? After all, this is the guardian of the China Wizarding House. We can't even get close to him now, how can we pass him?" At this time, they heard Director Lin's voice not far away. "This turtle is also one of the guardians of the China Wizarding Institute. It is 125 meters long, but such a huge volume will not affect its flexibility in the slightest. His speed is very fast, and it only takes a few seconds to disappear from the moment he appeared. Therefore, if you are attacked by him and have not recognized him, you will not suffer at all." "I'm fine, you just saw clearly, what is that?" Lin Xiao asked Harry, looking at him. And the sea creatures that attacked them were like electric shocks. When they came into contact with the black light, they were quickly bounced off, trembling like electric shocks, and then lost their ability to move. After fainting the sea creatures, Lin Xiao and Harry continued to move forward after stabilizing their bodies a little. Only at this time did they see Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin standing not far away. He now knows, what are they looking at? There is an inexplicable acupuncture on this part of the road, or some other force, restricting its magic ring, and he cannot complete the teleportation. The injury is not serious, but Lin Xiao feels like those sea creatures from before have been swept away by himself. Now he was also killed by the sudden pressure, and his whole body became numb. Lin Xiao and Harry stopped for a moment and watched carefully. After listening to Harry's explanation, Lin Xiao, who was a little dizzy, suddenly woke up, and the light in his eyes became much more serious. Could it be that we must defeat him in order to complete the trial this time? However, where did it just appear? After a while, this feeling of powerlessness gradually disappeared. Only then did he realize they were in trouble. Because, the marine creatures that originally surrounded their bodies no longer attacked, on the contrary, they fled in all directions. Lin Xiao, are you alright? Harry rushed over immediately and pulled Lin Xiao up. What made him even more depressed was that at that moment, he didn't even see what was suppressing him. He saw that Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin's eyes were not on them, but on the road between them. Harry looked at him with a wry smile and said, "The power of this turtle cannot be underestimated. Since he appeared, we were all powerless to resist, which shows how powerful he is." Those sea creatures who attacked her were stunned by half, and the rest did not dare to attack again. They could only brag farther away from her, and they did not dare to go forward. This place is probably aimed at his Lord of the Rings power. Don't give them any chance of opportunistic, can only move forward step by step, defeat all the creatures that appear on the road. Lin Xiao nodded, and then said, "You really look up to us, in such a trial, let the Guardian appear." 55. Lin Xiao was directly pressed under the sea, and the pressure on the pressure ladder under the sea did not completely disappear. The moment Lin Xiao was under pressure, he clearly felt a strong pressure on his body. After carefully observing the attack form of the marine creatures just now, Lin Xiao easily defused this round of attack. Zhang Jianguo said to them, "Because I know that you are not real intruders, the turtles will not really launch a deadly attack on you, otherwise, you would never have escaped completely." Hearing him say that, Harry's face became ugly, even a little dignified. The 3 spells were released at the same time, and Harry rushed towards the Guardian who was chasing after him. The turtle man's stature is not very big, he looks similar to Lin Xiao. Suddenly, a huge sea of water surpassed the water level, and in the sea, there was a huge black figure that quickly came towards them. Without any hesitation, Harry took out his wand and cast a spell on it. The Guardian was not so aggressive towards him. At this time, he had to be at the forefront. Lin Xiao and Harry, the two of them took a few steps forward, and fell directly from the sky again, and the two of them collided heavily on the pressure ladder. Lin Xiao nodded and said, "What are you afraid of? Will he hurt us? Let's just try it out." 35. The black figure gradually enlarged in front of the two of them. Under their astonished gaze, the huge sea turtle ran out of the water and jumped into the air. Right above them, the sunlight of the red flames was completely covered. Lin Xiao and Harry smiled wryly, noticed that they couldn't think of any way to get past this Guardian. And when they were thrown into the sea, the Guardian seemed to grin in their direction, as if mocking them. The turtle man walked forward step by step, and his eyes first set his eyes on Harry. Without one soul, how can spiritual power be so powerful? If they were in the forest, facing such a formidable opponent, they still had a place to hide, but now, they didn't have any shelter, and even the invisibility cloak was useless in front of the Guardian. He reacted subconsciously, left the position with his right hand in a circle, and was already standing on Harry's other side when he reappeared. Humph! An angry hum came out of the Guardian's mouth. Lin Xiao and Harry clearly felt their heartbeats, because his humming trembled. Under their astonished gaze, her body shrank until she became a green-headed turtle. "Are you all right? The first time you cook, I have already done the second time within 10 minutes, but at least now we can basically be sure that this returnee will not cause any substantial harm to us. Although I feel, he is very likely to despise us, and it is purely a prank." 35. Of course, Harry looked at Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin. "Before that, we must make sure that he really won't cause any substantial harm to us." The second time she was knocked out, Lin Xiao felt much stronger than the first time. The second time she was thrown into the sea, she saw the black figure of the turtle. Lin Xiao instinctively took 2 steps back, and his heart was full of horror. Although Lin Xiao had already guessed that the Guardian might have misunderstood him because of his space, he did not have the opportunity to explain at this time. After speaking, Turtle Man's gaze shifted from Harry's body to Lin Xiao's body, his eyes suddenly burst out with strong power, and his icy gaze stabbed at Lin Xiao like a sharp and tough dagger. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. Lin Xiao shouted, "Be careful. You must know that this Guardian has existed for at least 3 or 4,000 years, and is much more powerful than ordinary magicians. And their current venue is very unfriendly to them. They are now in an open space. At that moment, he had a feeling that the surrounding sea water seemed to be part of the turtle's body, and he and Harry were thrown into the sea, as if they had entered the Guardian's domain. Bounced on the pressure stairs. It must be known that his current mental power is quite strong, at least much stronger than Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin who are standing next to him, but the mental power of this Guardian gives him an unfathomable feeling. Lin Xiao was in a desperate situation. Lin Xiao looked not far away, Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin who had been looking at them. And the Guardian who originally possessed terrifying attack power, under the coverage of this golden light, actually melted in an instant. What's wrong with this? Lin Xiao looked at him and said, although it is a huge challenge, he also has great constraints, so I believe there must be some way to get past him and reach there before. What made him even more frustrated was that the Guardian did not do anything at all. He only used the little tail behind him to make them useless. You actually have internal space. The moment he spoke, it had come to Lin Xiao's side. The Lord of the Rings is restricted, and he cannot make further distances. The Guardian's attack is still going on, are you going to die at the hands of this Guardian? In the face of the Guardian's attack, Lin Xiao did not panic, he lightly released his mental power. Soon, Lin Xiao found that the space around his body seemed to freeze, his body was stiff, he used his mental power to control his body to move, but his body did not respond. Harry stood up dizzy, baring his teeth and grinning, this Guardian is really merciless, his head is going dizzy. At this critical moment, something unexpected happened. Around Lin Xiao's body, a golden light suddenly enveloped Lin Xiao's surroundings. These feelings hit the two of them, and they both felt that their bodies were unstable, and they swayed gently. At this time, the attack that had been going all out became a little walking. Seeing the embarrassed appearance of the two people on the opposite side, Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin laughed mercilessly. Such a scene, the two of them have experienced it before, thinking that they are the elite of the elite at any time, when have they been so embarrassed? But they are helpless, after all, in the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy is a paper tiger. His speed was extremely fast, basically in the blink of an eye, he came to their side. Moreover, it was the first time that Lin Xiao felt a person's spiritual power, and it turned out that he could be full of aggression. Harry suddenly realized, in this way, this trial is not just a trial, it may also be a chance to give the testers a chance to improve. Although our trial is so difficult, the resources provided to us are also the best. Faced with such a powerful Guardian, we can imagine the pressure. If this turtle does not really hurt us, then there is no better sparring for our training. And all of this was accomplished in a short period of time when Lin Xiao avoided the Guardian's first attack and returned to Harry's side. When the Guardian came after Lin Xiao, he met Harry head-on. Lin Xiao shook his head, feeling like he was about to have a concussion. Lin Xiao and Harry have been together for so long, and their actions are naturally very tacit. Almost immediately, both of them took out their wands. Lin Xiao regained his senses, Harry looked at him like a monster. But Lin Xiao still looked blank, not knowing what happened just now. Lin Xiao said, I have a question, who is the gentleman you just mentioned? So when do we start? Harry looked at the sun that was about to go down and said. But in the face of Lin Xiao and Harry, the Guardians are indeed merciful. Although they are thrown into the sea every time, but just throw them into the sea, they will stop attacking, and they will not be able to really hurt them. But anyway, the crisis is over. At least the Guardians did not dare to attack them again. The Guardian paused and said, why should I tell you? You don't know anything now, but you haven't been acknowledged by him. If he admits you, he will tell you his identity. That's why I don't want to tell you. By the way, I can tell you my name. You can call me Lord Turtle. Lin Xiao frowned, where did I provoke you? Is there any misunderstanding between us? Lord Turtle. Was he obsessed with watching some cartoon? Harry couldn't help but whisper. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full booking. Don't forget, you still have to pass my trial. For the sake of admission, I can tell you that I will only block you from passing through this place, but I will not really attack you. If you can't even see my affairs, you don't have to think about being able to pass me. The guard looked at them arrogantly, I advise you to go back and study for a while, now you can't pass, I'll go. La. Lin Xiao and Harry didn't have many tricks. After being thrown into the sea again and again, they could gradually feel the Guardian's power fluctuations. Does it need to be said? Time is tight and the task is heavy, of course, take a break and start immediately. He patted his chest, looked at Lin Xiao guardingly, and snorted coldly, don't think that there is protection, I can't do anything about you, he won't identify a person so easily, as long as you haven't fully obtained his admitted, I will definitely settle the account with you. 99. From this moment on, the sea that had been silent for an unknown number of years, and had been guarding the China Wizard Institute, suddenly became tumultuous. Every time a period of time passed, something would fall into the sea. Saying that, he turned to leave. Lin Zhao's eyes suddenly became clear, and he said in a deep voice, "I don't know what he means. But judging from his words and his performance today, I think our trial should be it's more difficult than the trial that he should have endured. As for what Mr. he said, I can't guess, but I don't think there is any malicious intent. Since he just appeared to protect, I can prove this, since he has no malicious intent, don't think too much for now. Still think about how to get through here." 35. The two looked at each other and smiled, and both took out their wands and regained their physical strength first. Lin Xiao, who was standing in the center of the oppressive aura, had a blank expression on her face. She didn't feel any aura, but only felt that the evil spirit around her body suddenly disappeared. Harry asked, "What should we do next? Is this still trying to kill their guardian just now? Why is it like a child who did something wrong?" Lin Xiao said without hesitation, "Of course it's rushing. It's only 10 times if you can't get through once, and 100 times if you can't get through 10 times. Anyway, the guardian just said that he won't really attack us. In such a situation next, we just need to find a way to break through first, and that's it." The guardian froze for a moment. "What are you doing?" Lin Zhao's brain was already clear at this time, and he clearly felt that the guardian was not talking to him, but to the space that had just appeared unexpectedly. Something seemed to float in his heart, but he was not sure for a while. After saying this, under the stunned gazes of Lin Xiao and Harry, the guardian slammed and disappeared in front of them. Those inanimate things, under the control of the guardian, can produce an anthropomorphic mentality and repel them. At this time, the guardian spoke up. His expression was very excited. "I'm sorry, sir, I shouldn't treat you like this, and I won't dare to do this again after 330. Guarding the previous words is not a lie, his strength is far above Lin Xiao and Harry. After all, thousands of years of turtles in the sea, what a terrifying existence. Lin Xiao can be sure that even Dumbledore and Li Ningning are not necessarily opponents of the guardian." Lin Xiao laughed angrily at the look of the guardian's face. "Okay, if you say that the original sin is the original sin. The common man is innocent, but he is guilty. I understand the truth." 5. "Wait a minute." Lin Xiao stopped him. After saying those words, the guardian looked around, and then looked at Sky 5 and found that nothing was out of the ordinary, so he was relieved. In the confrontation with the guardian, the two of them clearly felt that they were not only fighting against the guardian, but also the island guarded by the guardian and the sea that was thrown into it again and again, and even the surrounding islands. Every leaf can be their enemy. The scene of Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin watching the guardian was so shocking that their breathing almost stopped. The guardian, who had an angry face before, suddenly became sluggish, and the moment his feet fell to the ground, the anger in his eyes was completely replaced by the light of surrender. "Humph, there is no misunderstanding. It is your original sin to have this space in you." Lin Xiao looked not far away. "We have to complete the trial. At least when we leave here, we can all be reborn. Then when we return to Hogwarts, we will at least have the strength to protect ourselves, when we meet Voldemort, those Death Eaters in the—" "Lin Xiao, what did the Turtle Sama mean when he said you were someone who hasn't been recognized yet? Do you know?" Harry asked. In an instant, everyone present felt an indescribable pressure. "And Lin Xiao is the core of this way, ya? You?" The guardian gasped. Lin Xiao and Harry felt like they wanted to laugh when they watched her cautiously looking around like a thief. After the light slowly subsided, the protective cover around Lin Xiao also quietly disappeared, as if it had never appeared. But at this time, even the sea has calmed down, and it is not only the guardian who is standing in the same place. Even Li Ningning, who is at the top of the China Witchcraft Institute, has the same expression at this time, standing in the main hall. Murmured in the mouth, do not know what to say. Under the guardian's hands, he can support 250 meters, and only the last 50 meters are left. When he reacted, the two had already flown to 100 meters. Lin Xiao looked at them with a smile on his face. He didn't know what was going on. Harry and the guardian seemed like natural enemies. Every time he threw him into the sea, the guardian couldn't help but teased him. Sentence. 5 minutes later. And for the guardian, he will never release water. He really took on the identity of the trial officer, and he didn't show favoritism at all. But last night they arrived on the opposite side, and the problem of where Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin were still came from the guardians. This time, although the two were still thrown into the sea, they were quite excited. This was the closest they were to each other. At this time, Lin Xiao, who had been behind Harry, did something that made the guardian extremely angry and at the same time extremely surprised. The guardian's head, poking in from the sea, said to him, "Little Harry, I'm already very gentle. Otherwise, I'll let you try, and see if I break your face and but into 8 pieces next time. You will know what it means to be ruthless." After resting, Lin Xiao and Harry regained their strength after about half an hour. Lin Xiao gave a shallow drink, and the two of them moved forward at the same time. The guardian gave Harlem a provocative look. Come on, come on. If you had the ability, it would have been over long ago, and I am still here to stop you. I am afraid of you, I am afraid that you will not work. However, immediately after him, Lin Xiao was also thrown in, and he was not much better, and he was also in a state of embarrassment. I'll ignore you. I'm waiting for you, recover my strength quickly, but don't make me wait too long. After speaking, the guardian disappeared again, but this time when he left, the little tail behind him not forgetting, he threw it at Harry twice. But he never thought that the two of them would make such an arrangement. 5 hours later, the tacit understanding between Lin Xiao and Harry had already arrived. Without looking at it, one could clearly grasp every opportunity to cooperate. However, this time, they both made a qualitative leap. Because of the distance of 300 meters, the two of them have now been able to succeed in 5 minutes, which is about 250 meters. A heavy voice fell into the sea, "Still Harry." Harry, who was smashed to pieces, spit out sea water, and he was as embarrassed as he was. Lin Xiao said in a deep voice, "Harry, get ready." Lin Xiao laughed, "Don't be so narcissistic, okay?" The moment they entered the control range, the guardian laughed, and also entered the 300 meters, and met the attack of the two people head-on. At this time, he didn't notice at all that after falling down so many times, his body had formed a resistance to pressure in the sea, and he was able to walk normally in the sea just like on land. Moreover, through the Guardian's rule, these marine creatures are like iron plates. After more than 10 hours of training, the longest distance they have passed now is still the previous 250 meters. You. Harry was so angry that he was speechless. He has always been smart, but after meeting the Guardian, he has no choice. Harry, what's the matter with you and him? Why is he always targeting you? Lin Xiao looked at Harry and said inexplicably. Watching this scene, the Guardian was stunned for a moment. Out of the inertia of the previous confrontation, he originally thought that the two of them would fight all the way to fight the sea creatures that he had arranged, and then look for opportunities to break through. But he can't notice this at all now, his physical strength has been exhausted, and even if he wants to rush up, there is no way. Hey, you don't slap people in the face. If you dare to hit me in the face, I will be at odds with you. Harry said angrily, jumping his feet in the sea. However, as time passed by, the two of them were thrown into the sea by the Guardian, and they gradually threw their skills. For the strength of the Guardian, they all sincerely admire. 0. And because before they flew into the air, the formation of marine creatures around them was completely useless. Let's go, let's continue. Lin Xiao shouted and walked towards the 300 meters again. Lin Xiao released the space again, forming a protective shield around him and Harry. As the black light flickered, a light came out from Lin Xiao's wand. As they attacked again and again, they spent more and more time under the Guardian's hands. Facing the sea creatures that formed politics and law around them, their way forward was almost completely blocked. Walk! At the moment when Lin Xiao's black light emitted, Harry used his wand, causing both of them to fly. Although the altitude was low, both of them flew into the air. The indomitable aura emanating from the two of them made the Guardian understand that this time it would never be as simple as before, and the two of them were going to really challenge him. Looking at this scene, the Guardian was a little angry, thinking in his heart that these two little devils are really cunning, and they want to pass the customs in this way. Ah! I'm going to fight with you. Harry couldn't take it anymore, he was about to chase after him, and Lin Xiao quickly stopped him. But, I said you can't throw it softly, who can stand up to you to fall like this? After Harry was thrown into the sea again, the pain that came from his whole body made him almost faint, and he endured it. Can't stop complaining loudly to him, get up. And they only did it for 2 hours, and you can imagine how much progress Harry would have made if he continued to be abused like this. Ask for flowers. P.S. Kneeling for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, automatic subscription, full order. Factory. A strong light emanated from his body, the momentum of the two flying forward, and the moment the light caught up with the two of them, it immediately slowed down. Harry hummed angrily and said, "How do I know if you noticed that he attacked us a few times as if he was deliberately targeting me, and every time I was beaten first and fell harder than you, does he think I'm more handsome than you? Is he unbalanced?" 39. If they can't pass him, they will have no way to go to the opposite side. Although the Guardian will not attack them with all their strength, they will definitely go all out to prevent them from reaching Zhang Jianguo and Director Lin. Moreover, those pressure ladders that put pressure on them have no effect on them at this time. However, what Lin Xiao said was not wrong. The Guardian was indeed a bit deliberate, and he took special care of Harry every time he attacked him. However, it was precisely because of this that Harry's abilities improved by leaps and bounds. Although he can't compare to Lin Xiao now, he is already a lot stronger than before.